Chapter 16:21. What? Tuoba Yulong. It's actually him. Someone of the older generation exclaimed in the crowd. Evidently, they recognized the old man in front of them. Tuoba Yulong was an elder of the Tuoba family and had terrifying strength. It was rumored that his spirit-seeking technique was very powerful, and he had obtained divine gems many times. He was definitely a terrifying spirit-seeking master. What? So terrifying! The surrounding warriors were also shocked. They hadn't expected this elder to have such a powerful background. Putting aside the fact that he was an elder of the Tuoba family, the fact that he had obtained divine gems many times was enough to shock the world. Even if he wasn't from the Tuoba family, he would probably be treated as a guest of honor by the various major factions. At this moment, even Lin Xian, the Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, and Du Fei had grave expressions. Evidently, the other party was a true expert, and wasn't someone that a brat like Tuoba Yi could compare to. Tuoba Yi revealed a sinister smile, and his eyes were filled with pride. How is it, brat? Are you afraid? Offending the Tuoba family is the biggest mistake you've made in your life. Hearing that, everyone fell silent. They hadn't expected Tuoba Yi to find an old monster. However, what was even more shocking was that there were two young men standing beside Tuoba Yulong. One was the Thousand Thunder Saint, who was wearing a lightning robe, while the other was wearing a long green robe, and was surrounded by a resplendent green light. Unfettered Saint. Everyone was shocked again. They hadn't expected the Unfettered sect to come as well. The two saints stood beside Tuoba Yulong as if they were his juniors, supporting him. Such a scene was hard to imagine. Young man, if you don't gamble with me today, you won't be able to leave. Tuoba Yulong's voice was old and deep, but it was filled with boundless power. No one is allowed to casually bully our Tuoba family. Since you've defeated Year, you have to fight with me. I'll let you know the true strength of the Tuoba family. Previously, he had seen Lin Gongzi's methods, but he hadn't had enough fun. How about another gamble? The Myriad Thunder Saint said with a smile. Although he was smiling, his eyes were somewhat gloomy. Lin Xian's victory had made him lose face. After all, Tuoba Yi was brought here by him. If Tuoba Yi was defeated, he naturally wouldn't feel good. He originally thought that he didn't have the chance to defeat Lin Xian, but he didn't expect Tuoba Yi to actually call for the clan's elders. This was an excellent opportunity. On the other side, the Unfettered Saint did not speak, but there was an unquestionable aura around him. In fact, the crowd even felt that the entire space had solidified. It looked like if Lin Xian didn't make a move, the other party really wouldn't let them go. Brat, what should we do? Are you going to do it? The Crimson Dragon asked. On the other side, Fatty Luo and Du Fei also said, Brother Lin, if you don't want to compete, we'll take you away. Don't worry. With us here, they definitely won't dare to do anything to you. The two were very confident. After all, the reputation of the top 10 villains wasn't just for show. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then the corners of his mouth curled up. No matter. Since they want to compete, I'll accompany them in this gamble. What? The crowd couldn't believe their ears. Lin Xian still wanted to compete? This time, it was the Tuoba family's elder, Tuoba Yulong. He was an extremely powerful seeker spirit master. However, Lin Xian still wanted to compete. Was he really confident, or was he just showing off? The crowd didn't know. They guessed that it was more likely the latter. After all, no one believed that Lin Xian could defeat a powerful elder like Tuoba Yulong. On the opposite side, Tuoba Yi, the Myriad Thunder Saint, and the others all laughed when they heard this. They laughed maniacally. Ha ha, kid, I have to say that you're really too stupid. This time, you'll definitely suffer a crushing defeat. Tuoba Yi was very excited. He couldn't wait to see the scene of Lin Xian's defeat. Tuoba Yulong's orange peel-like face also revealed a strange smile. At the same time, his gaze, which was faintly purple, fell on Lin Xian. It seemed that he wanted to see through or discover Lin Xian's secret, because in his opinion, Lin Xian must have some tricks up his sleeve to be able to defeat Tuoba Yi. Moreover, he really wanted to know what kind of background Lin Xian had for him to agree to compete with him. Sensing the other party's gaze, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Countless sword qi emerged from his body and instantly surrounded him. At the same time, he said coldly, "Isn't it a bit too much for Senior to investigate me so unscrupulously?" On the opposite side, Tuoba Yulong narrowed his eyes. To be honest, it wasn't surprising that the other party discovered his investigation. However, what surprised him was that he couldn't find any information. The other party's sword qi was very strange. It actually blocked his gaze. This was the first time such a thing had happened. However, he didn't care. He snorted coldly. "Kid, there's no point in talking anymore. Let's start the battle now. The stones here are too ordinary. Why don't we go deeper?" Tuoba Yulong said indifferently, "As you wish." Lin Xian didn't refuse. He wanted to see what the other party had up his sleeve. Then, with the help of the 1,000 Thunder Saint Sun and the unfettered Saint Sun, Tuoba Yulong quickly walked deeper into the sacred palace. The others also followed, walking quickly. This would definitely be an earth-shattering battle. One was a young genius, while the other was an elder. It was definitely an earth-shattering gamble. However, Du Fei, Fatty Luo, and the others asked telepathically, "Brother Lin, are you confident? The other party is an old monster." "At least 50%, Lin Xian replied. Indeed, although the other party's eye technique was powerful, Lin Xian was very confident in his martial path heavenly eye. The martial path heavenly eye was one of the peerless theurgies in the eastern wilderness. Very few people could cultivate it. Not only had Lin Xian cultivated it, but he'd also cultivated it to a certain level. At least, he was more than 50% confident in defeating Tuoba Yulong. Great. In that case, let's take down that old monster's arrogance. Crimson Dragon and the others nodded, then quickly followed Lin Xian into the depths of the palace. The sacred palace was divided into 10 areas. The deeper one went, the more precious the stones were. Of course, the more expensive they were. Just the entrance fee alone was enough to make everyone's heart ache. However, in order to see the prosperity of stone gambling, they all gritted their teeth and bought tickets to watch the battle. The 7th area, the originally spacious area, was filled with people. Even some of the older generation figures who were living fossils had come to watch the battle. Lin Xian naturally came with the others. He looked around and found that there were many strange stones around. Any one of them was far more valuable than the previous ones. Chapter 1622. Lin Xian naturally followed the crowd here. He glanced around and found that there were many strange stones placed around him. Any one of them was far superior to the ones before, as expected of the 7th region. It's strong. Lin Xian was surprised. He only glanced around and found several of the stones contained treasures. However, he didn't act rashly. He knew that the other party must be a very powerful seeker who knew some powerful spirit-seeking techniques that could interfere with his heavenly eye. As expected, other seekers' spirit masters in the crowd seemed to have found treasures and immediately spent a lot of money to buy a piece. However, when he cut it open, he found that it was empty. There were no treasures at all. Immediately, the seeker spirit master who bought the stone vomited blood and fainted. The other seeker spirit masters' expressions changed drastically. They looked at Tuoba Yulong in horror. They knew that Tuoba Yulong must have used a powerful spirit-seeking technique to hide the true appearance of these stones. That was why the seeker spirit master had misjudged them. So strong. Tuoba Yulong is indeed an elder of the Tuoba family. His methods are extraordinary. This should be an illusion technique. With him here, the other Seeker Spirit Masters won't be able to find any treasures. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. As expected, the other party's methods were powerful enough to interfere with other Seeker Spirit Masters. However, he had the heavenly eye and could see through everything. The other party couldn't interfere with him. While everyone was discussing, Tuoba Yulong had already stepped forward to select a stone. Lin Xian also used his heavenly eye. His eyes flashed with strange runes as he looked forward. However, his expression changed in the next moment. Tuoba Yulong's dragon head walking stick shook slightly. The surrounding stones flew up on their own and flew toward Lin Xian. "What's going on?" everyone exclaimed, not understanding what was going on. Lin Xian's face darkened, and he snorted coldly in his heart. "Damned old man, you dare to play tricks with me?" If he broke one of these stones that flew towards him, he would lose the bet, because that would be equivalent to him cutting open a stone and not being able to cut it open again. Therefore, he could not touch a single one of these stones. Although the other party's methods were strong, Lin Xian's methods were not weak either. With a cold snort, a bright light bloomed around his body. A green domain instantly appeared and covered all the stones. Moreover, they bounced back at an even faster speed. Not only that, Lin Xian did not damage these stones at all. Soon, the stones in the sky flew forward like shooting stars. He arrived before Tuoba Yulong in an instant. Not only that, but these stones also rapidly rotated, forming a strange formation, trapping Tuoba Yulong there. "Humph, if you want to play tricks with me, I'll play with you." Lin Xian smirked, and the runes in his eyes shone even brighter. Whoosh! The surrounding people exclaimed. They had never seen such a method before. The Seeker Spirit Masters were even more shocked. All of them widened their eyes, unwilling to let go of any detail. Ahead, Tuoba Yulong's face sank. He didn't expect that the other party's method would be so powerful as to be able to break his spirit-seeking technique in an instant. Not only that, but the other party also backhanded him. Although the array formation around him wasn't of much use to him, it wasn't very effective. However, the other party's counterattack and forceful attitude made him very unhappy. As an elder of the Tuoba family and an extremely powerful Seeker Spirit Master, he was very famous in the Eastern Wilderness. Now, a brat actually dared to attack him? He couldn't tolerate it. With a cold snort, he waved the dragon-headed cane in his hand again. The cane waved, emitting a strange energy. Instantly, the stones in the sky seemed to be controlled by this energy and returned to their original places meekly. Everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. However, the surrounding people were not calm. Lin Xian and Tuoba Yulong's methods were too shocking. They were in awe, seeing the other party easily break free of the strange stone formation. Lin Xian was also slightly surprised. After a while, he stopped paying attention. Instead, he used his martial Dao heavenly eye to look at the strange stones around him. No matter what he did now, it would be futile. Only by fiercely defeating the other party in stone gambling could he extinguish the other party's arrogance. The martial Dao heavenly eye was very mysterious. Lin Xian's eyes were filled with mysterious runes. Soon, Lin Xian's gaze swept across most of the strange stones. Finally, he fixed his eyes on one of them. That rock was only the size of a millstone. It was covered in moss. Furthermore, from its appearance, it resembled a lying tortoise from afar. "This is it." Lin Xian's eyes shone brightly. Countless runes flickered. He waved his hand and called the green tortoise stone to his side. "It's the spirit tortoise divine stone." Seeing the stone Lin Xian chose, the crowd exclaimed, "This stone must be one of the most expensive stones in the 7th district." The price is at least 5,000 kilograms of substandard divine crystals. Even the eyes of the living fossil elders were shining. They were all excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. I had my eyes on this stone previously, but I couldn't bear to cut it open. This time, someone is finally going to cut it open. Yeah, this stone was transported from here, and has been here for more than a decade. No one has dared to touch it. I didn't expect this young man called Lin Xian to be so bold as to dare to touch this spirit tortoise divine stone. Many of the older generation figures were discussing this, and the surrounding cultivators were also shocked. They didn't expect this stone to have such an origin. Even the living fossil elders had their eyes on it. However, they didn't dare to act rashly because it was too valuable. The myriad thunder saint and the unfettered saint frowned when they saw the stone chosen by the other party. They didn't expect the Lin Xian to be so bold. There was naturally a reason why the spirit tortoise divine stone was known as one of the most important stones. Perhaps it really contained some unique treasure. Therefore, the two saints were a little worried. Tuoba sneered and said, "You are overestimating yourself. How dare you choose the spirit tortoise divine stone? However, that requires 5,000 kilograms of substandard divine crystals. Do you have that much money? If you can't take out the money, it would be a joke if you can't cut anything good." Hearing this, everyone's heart skipped a beat. This was indeed a problem. Looking at Lin Xian, he didn't seem to be a disciple of a major sect. It wasn't certain if he could buy this spirit tortoise divine stone. "I don't have that many divine crystals." Lin Xian shrugged and admitted, "What? No?" Hearing this, everyone was in an uproar. They didn't expect Lin Xian to admit that he didn't have money so generously. Chapter 16:23. Humph! How dare you cut such a divine stone without money? I think you don't know your limits. Tuoba sneered. He knew that behind this event stood the shadows of the clan of the ancients and the unparalleled sacred grounds. Even the Tuoba family didn't dare to offend such powerful entities. Yet, this kid wanted to gain something without risking anything? How could there be such a good deal? Lin Xian sneered. "I don't have so many divine crystals, but that doesn't mean I can't cut this stone." Finishing his statement, he ignored Tuoba and turned to speak to Fatty Luo. "Brother Luo, lend me some money." "No problem." Fatty Luo laughed, then took out the silver token. "I don't have that much money either, but you should be familiar with this token. Take it and ask my grandfather for it. I'm sure you'll be able to get it." Everyone's eyelids twitched when they saw the token. This command medallion had frightened many people. It was definitely a terrifying item. However, more people's mouths twitched, asking the 10 great villains for money? Why did this sound so unreliable? However, an old fossil in the crowd said, "Sure, no problem, but you have to leave this token here first." "Okay." Fatty Luo shrugged indifferently, then gave the silver token to the old man, who was like a living fossil. Everyone fell silent when they saw this. It seemed that the person behind this stone gambling event had allowed Lin Xian to cut the stone. Tuoba sneered. They thought that Lin Xian would really be able to get the qualifications, which made him very unhappy. Then he sneered. "Let's see how you'll die this time." He didn't believe that Lin Xian could defeat his family's elder. While Lin Xian was dealing with this matter, on the other side, Tuoba Yulong had also chosen a strange stone. The stone he chose was even more peculiar. There were 5 holes on it that were connected. It was very mysterious. 5-hole divine stone. It was also one of the most precious strange stones in the 7th district. Its price even exceeded the one in Lin Xian's hand, reaching 6,000 caddies of divine crystals. However, unlike Lin Xian, Tuoba Yulong paid on the spot. As an elder of the Tuoba family, he could afford to take out 6,000 kilograms of substandard divine crystals, With a wave of his hand, he directly handed over enough demigods. Immediately, everyone became excited, because they knew that the real bet was about to begin. At this moment, Du Fei stood up excitedly. His whole body was agitated, and his eyes were shining brightly. Since the two of you have chosen your stones, shouldn't we talk about the stakes? Stone gambling. Naturally, one had to place a bet. Otherwise, it would be meaningless. As for Du Fei as a gambling addict, he was even more excited. In such a grand occasion, the stakes that the two of them brought out would definitely be extraordinary. At this moment, the myriad Thunder Saints said with a chuckle, "I saw Brother Lin's somewhat distressed appearance just now. Let Brother Lin make this bet. Lest we bet too high and Brother Lin can't afford it. How embarrassing would that be?" Although he was laughing, his voice was filled with endless mockery. The martialists on the myriad Thunder Saints' side all laughed as they stared unkindly at Lin Xian. In their opinion, the other party simply wouldn't be able to take out anything good. F***CK. This is too much. The Crimson Dragon and Fatty Luo were furious, while the corners of Lin Xian's lips curled up. His heart was burning a little. Since the other party had asked him to make the bet, this was really good news. However, since the other party had gone too far, there was no need for him to hold back. This time, he had to make the other party bleed a lot. Otherwise, he would really be letting down this time's big bet. Thus, he said with a smile, "Since you are an elder of the Tuoba family, I believe that you must have a lot of treasures on hand. Plus, if the stakes I take out are too poor, I'm afraid that I won't be giving the elder any face. Therefore, how about this? I will use this weapon as a stake. What do you think?" With that, Lin Xian flipped his palm, and a small black cauldron appeared in his palm. It kept floating, using a weapon as a stake. Hearing this, the surrounding people were stunned. As for Tuoba Yi, the 10,000 Thunder Saint, and the others, their faces were filled with disdain. With the other party's status, he probably wouldn't be able to take out any good weapons. However, in the next moment, when they saw the small black cauldron in Lin Xian's hand, they were all stunned. Among them, Tuoba Yi, the 10,000 Thunder Saint, the Unfettered One, and the others' pupils shrank while the surrounding martial artists exclaimed, "Earth-grade treasure! Those who could come to the 7th District weren't weaklings." Naturally, there were experts among them who recognized this weapon. Earth-grade treasure. Lin Xian took it out. It was actually an Earth-grade treasure. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Earth-grade treasures weren't common in the Eastern Wilderness. Normally, only the core disciples and elders of those large sects would have them. Moreover, most of them were Earth-grade, low-grade treasures. Lin Xian's 10,000 beast ding was an Earth-grade, mid-grade treasure. It could be said that it was very precious. Perhaps only the saints would have such treasures. Even if they did, they wouldn't be willing to take it out as a wager. Therefore, when Lin Xian took out the 10,000 beast ding, everyone was so shocked. Even the 10,000 Thunder Saint and the Unfettered Saint's eyelids twitched, and their expressions turned ugly. As saints, they naturally had such treasures. However, that was their treasure. How could they be willing to take it out? But now the other party actually took out an Earth-grade, mid-grade treasure. This was indeed out of their expectations. Damn it, how could this kid have such a treasure? Tuoba Yi gritted his teeth, his expression ferocious. Tuoba Yulong's eyes also glowed, and his lips curled into a sinister smile. Then he said nonchalantly, "It doesn't matter. The better the treasure he takes out, the happier we should be, because that thing will be ours sooner or later." Tuoba Yulong looked at the 10,000 Thunder Saint and the Unfettered Saint. "Why, you two don't believe in my strength?" "We don't dare." "How could that be?" The 10,000 Thunder Saint and the Unfettered Saint hurriedly explained. Then the 10,000 Thunder Saint's eyes glowed. He took a step forward, looked at Lin Xian, and sneered. "Kid, I didn't expect you to be so reckless. You dare to wager such a treasure with me? Fine, I'll make you accept your defeat today. Although an Earth-grade, mid-grade weapon is precious, I can take it out." With that, the 10,000 Thunder Saint flipped his palm, and a treasure flickering with lightning appeared in the void. It was a blue hammer that was 1 foot long. It was covered with Tao runes, and lightning flickered around it. It looked like a divine item. "What? It's the 10,000 Thunder Hammer." Seeing this thing, everyone exclaimed in surprise. Even the living fossils had grave expressions on their faces. The 10,000 Thunder Hammer was a very famous treasure of the 10,000 Thunder sect. They didn't expect the 10,000 Thunder Saint to use it as a wager. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. This was definitely a shocking gamble. Chapter 1624. The Myriad Lightning Hammer was a very famous treasure of the Myriad Lightning sect. Who would have thought that the Myriad Lightning Saint would use it as a wager? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. This was definitely a huge wager. Perhaps only people at the level of the saint would be able to take out such a bet. A living fossil in the crowd nodded slightly. That's right. The Myriad Lightning Hammer is also a mid-grade Earth-tier treasure. The two are of similar grades. It's worth a wager. Everyone was stirred as they stared at the field. They wanted to know who would emerge victorious in this bet. "Since you're here to give us a treasure, I'll accept it without hesitation." Tuoba Yulong sneered and stepped forward. He clenched his fist, and a dagger appeared in his hand. It was a red dagger covered in inscriptions. It was very strange and looked more like a flood dragon. Holding the flood dragon dagger, Tuoba Yulong's aura turned sharp. The purple light in his eyes flourished and connected together. It was like a ball of purple auspicious clouds that enveloped the strange stone he had chosen. Then he began cutting the stone with the flood dragon dagger. Tuoba Yulong's stone-cutting technique was very strange and much more powerful than Tuoba Ye's. Before long, the 5-orifice divine stone gradually shrank. The surrounding air also gradually condensed. No one dared to breathe too loudly. "Brother Lin, do you think that old guy can cut out any treasure?" Fatty Luo asked worriedly. "There's definitely a treasure. As an elder of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Yulong must have extraordinary vision. There's definitely a treasure inside. As for what it is, I don't know," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. He also activated his martial Tao heavenly eye and carefully stared ahead. Tuoba Yulong's movements were getting slower and slower, but the purple light in his eyes was getting stronger and stronger. Obviously, he had reached the most crucial part. At this moment, even the Myriad Lightning Saint was nervous. The wager was his weapon. If he lost, he would be too ashamed to return to the sect. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. His eyes shone brightly and covered the stone under his feet. It seemed that he was also preparing to cut the stone. Seeing Lin Xian's actions, the crowd cried out in surprise. At the same time, most of their gazes turned towards him. This was because the spirit turtle divine rock in Lin Xian's possession was also an extremely important wondrous rock. They also wanted to know just what kind of treasure it contained. Even the living fossils of the older generation were very excited. Lin Xian's movements were very fast. He first removed all the rocks around the edges and gradually approached the center. He even cut off a third of the stone with a single slash, which immediately drew cries of surprise. Because this method was too daring, this was a stone bought with 2,500 caddies of subdivinity crystals. Everyone had to be careful when cutting, unlike Lin Xian. It was too casual. However, all of this was within Lin Xian's control. Under the martial Tao heavenly eye, nothing could escape his probing. Lin Xian precisely controlled the stone in his hand. Gradually, the stones in his and Tuoba Yulong's hands became smaller, and smaller until they were only the size of a soccer ball. However, there was still no light. Could it be that these are two useless stones? Someone saw this and muttered softly, "No way. You're saying that both of them made a mistake? Heavens, if that's really the case, then this is going to be fun." Two extremely powerful seeker spirit masters had spent a fortune to buy these wondrous stones, but they were actually two useless stones. If this news spread, it would definitely shock the entire eastern wilderness. However, an expert in the crowd snorted. "What do you know? Real treasures won't be too big, especially this kind of extremely precious, wondrous stone. There have even been treasures the size of a fingernail in it before. But that's enough to shock the entire eastern wilderness," a powerful expert explained. The crowd calmed down again and watched carefully. Lin Xian ignored the discussion around him. His eyes were extremely bright as he carefully stared at the stone in his hand. His cutting speed was sometimes fast and sometimes slow. When he was slow, he even stopped. When he was fast, it was dazzling. This was a plan before making a decision. Only after Lin Xian used his martial Dao heavenly eye to see the true situation inside would he act. However, at this moment, everyone exclaimed, because the stone next to Tuoba Yulong in front of them was shining brightly. The rays of light were as red as gods and extremely dazzling. Accompanying it was a terrifying wave of heat. The moment it appeared, the temperature of the entire 7th district continued to rise, as if a sun had descended here. The air was distorted from the heat. Everyone was instantly drenched in sweat, as if they had been drenched in rain. Even the weaker martial artists were covered in red thorns. They were about to be ignited. Countless martial artists hurriedly circulated their spiritual power to resist, then looked forward in shock. As for the older generation and living fossils, their eyes were shining brightly. They were extremely excited, as if they had been injected with chicken blood. And all of this was because of the aura released by the stone in Tuoba Yulong's hand. Needless to say, that stone must contain extremely precious treasures. At this moment, Tuoba Yi, the myriad Thunder Saint Sun, the unfettered Saint Sun, and the others were also overjoyed. They stared unblinkingly. Tuoba Yulong's expression was extremely solemn. Fine beads of sweat even seeped out of his forehead. He had no choice. This was the most crucial moment. Now that the treasure had appeared, he had to be even more careful. Otherwise, it would be a great sin if he destroyed even a trace of it. He held the Flood Dragon dagger and peeled off the stone skin bit by bit. Then he quickly sealed it with his palm. Strange runes flickered and appeared in the air, sealing the treasure inside the stone to prevent it from losing its energy. Even so, the resplendent red light and the fiery energy still made everyone extremely shocked. At this moment, everyone looked up and carefully looked forward. They wanted to see what kind of treasure it was to have such shocking energy. As for Tuoba Yulong, he put away the Flood Dragon dagger and carefully held the treasure in his hand. A smug smile bloomed on his withered orange-skinned face. It was a large crystal with a curved surface. It was red all over like a fireball. It was a divine crystal, and a mutated one with strange attributes. It was definitely a shocking treasure. Everyone was extremely shocked. Many experts were so excited that they trembled. To be honest, all the peerless experts and powerful spirit tamers present had seen some ordinary divine crystals before. Some had even cut them out. But they had never seen a mutated divine crystal with such an attribute. In the past, they had only learned of such things from ancient records. This was the first time they had seen it with their own eyes. Therefore, they were extremely excited. Chapter 1625. A mutated divine crystal is far more valuable than an ordinary divine crystal. Looks like Tuoba Yulong is indeed powerful. He actually managed to obtain such a treasure. Even an almighty would be excited to see such a thing. This is definitely a blessing for fire tribute martialists Anyone who can obtain a piece will definitely have a huge increase in their cultivation. They might even be able to advance to the next level. Excited voices were heard as Tuoba laughed maniacally. His eyes were filled with pride. The 1,000 Thunder Saint, the unfettered saint, and the others took a deep breath. In particular, the 10,000 Thunder Saint's eyes shone with a shocking light. This time they were definitely going to win. The 1,000 Thunder Saint wanted to roar with laughter when he thought about how he had obtained a mutated divine crystal and won the middle grade Earth tier treasure from Tuoba Yulong. Humph! That kid is definitely going to lose. Tuoba sneered as he looked across. I'm very curious. What can Brother Lin solve? The 10,000 Thunder Saint also had a smug smile on his face. He wasn't nervous at all, as he believed that no one could surpass this mutated divine crystal. Tuoba Yulong's eyes lit up. Kid, don't waste your energy. The best treasure in District 7 is probably this mutated divine crystal in my hands. No matter how strong you are, you won't be able to obtain anything more precious than this. Therefore, you are definitely going to lose this time. F***CK. Damn it. That damned old man. How can his luck be so good? Fatty Luo and Dufei looked gloomy as they gritted their teeth. This situation had indeed exceeded their expectations. The Crimson Dragon also looked anxious as he asked worriedly, Kid, what should we do? Lin Xian squinted his eyes. To be honest, he was indeed surprised that Tuoba Yulong had been able to obtain a mutated divine crystal. However, he didn't panic, as he was very confident in the stone in his hands. Therefore, he said nonchalantly, no one will know the outcome of stone gambling until the very last moment. I advise you not to be too arrogant, lest you embarrass yourselves. Humph! How dare you be so stubborn in the face of death? Tuoba sneered. He did not believe Lin Xian's words at all. He thought that Lin Xian was just boasting. The myriad Thunder Saint Sun, the Freedom Saint Sun, and the others also sneered. Since that's the case, let's hope that Brother Lin can cut out something good. Tuoba Yulong was even more disdainful. Little doll, what do you know? I've cut out more divine crystals than you've eaten. This time, you have no chance of winning. Everyone looked at Lin Xian with complicated expressions. To be honest, everyone thought that it was impossible for Lin Xian to win. However, Lin Xian's expression was still calm. His hands were very steady as he cut the strange stone bit by bit. The reason for that was because he knew that Tuoba Yulong and the others were actually pressuring him. If he couldn't withstand it, he would probably lose immediately. Fortunately, his mental endurance had always been very strong. Therefore, the other party's words and provocations were not very effective on him. Tuoba, the myriad Thunder Saint Sun, and the others sneered disdainfully when they saw that Lin Xian was still cutting the stone unhurriedly. Tuoba Yulong even took out a spiritual fruit, peeled it, and ate it slowly, his eyes flashing coldly. After cutting out a mutated divine crystal with a fire attribute, he was already in an invincible position in District 7. There was absolutely no reason for his opponent to defeat him. Therefore, he was very relieved. On the other side, the strange stone in Lin Xian's hand became smaller and smaller until it was only the size of a bowl. However, there was no light coming from it. At this moment, whispers were heard from the crowd. Sigh, there hasn't been any divine light yet. It seems like there's no treasure in this stone. Yeah, Lin Xian has always been very impressive and was able to cut out a supreme-grade subdivine crystal. However, I didn't expect that he would make a mistake this time and choose a useless stone. What's the big deal? Even a dragon would have to bow before Tuoba Yulong. He doesn't have the right to be arrogant. Not only did Lin Xian lose face, but he also lost a mid-grade Earth-tier treasure. I'm afraid he can't take it. Sounds of discussion could be heard. Some sighed, some sneered, and some were taking pleasure in others' misfortune. F***CK. Whoever speaks nonsense again, I'll cut off your tongues. Fatty Luo's face darkened as he roared angrily. Instantly, the surroundings fell silent. However, the myriad thunder saint's son sneered. Brother Luo, why are you so angry? Victory and defeat are commonplace. Besides, it's normal for you to lose in front of Senior Tuoba. I don't think there's a need for such a big reaction. Yeah, it's just a mid-grade Earth-tier treasure. I think Lin Xian can still afford to lose it. The unfettered saint's son sneered as well. Tuoba was even more arrogant as he sneered. He doesn't have that ability. Don't make a fool of yourself. Now, you know the consequences of offending the Tuoba family. F***CK. Ben Huang really wants to give him 2 slaps. The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth in anger. Lin Xian, on the other hand, was calm as he shook his head slightly. Don't be hasty. It's not over yet. The winner isn't certain yet. When the time comes, you'll get to slap him in the face. Lin Xian said slowly as the runes in his eyes shone even brighter. You're still so stubborn even now? Tuoba Yulong snorted. Kid, don't struggle. The stone you chose seems magical, but it's actually just a piece of trash. There's nothing inside. Your judgment is still lacking. If you want to compete with me, you'll have to cultivate for another 100 years. His voice was filled with pride. Lin Xian sneered. Is that so? I really want to see you get slapped in the face. With that, he used his finger as a knife and cut off another piece of stone. Suddenly, a strange light bloomed from the stone. It was like a rainbow-colored light, instantly illuminating the entire space. What divine light appeared? Seeing this scene, everyone cried out in alarm. They were extremely shocked. They didn't expect that there really was a treasure inside the stone. Damn it, how is this possible? Tuoba Yulong's face immediately darkened. It was extremely ugly. He had just mocked Lin Xian, saying that he had poor judgment and that it was impossible for there to be a treasure inside. But then Lin Xian produced divine light. Wasn't that a slap to his face? And it was a loud slap. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth so hard that they almost shattered. Damn it, impossible, impossible. Tuoba Yi screamed crazily, his eyes full of disbelief. How could Lin Xian produce divine light? This made them extremely uncomfortable. At this moment, even the myriad thunder saint and the unfettered saint looked gloomy. Ha ha ha! Great! Divine light finally appeared. Ben Huang was scared to death. Looks like we should save the good stuff for last. I knew it. How could Brother Lin's stone be bad? The Crimson Dragon, Du Fei, Fatty Luo, and the others were all excited. Chapter 16:26. That's not right. I remember someone said that Brother Lin has bad taste. I think it was an old turtle. He also said that his taste was very unique. This is a useless rock. Oh, the person who said that is blind. How can it be a useless rock when the divine light is out? It's a slap in the face. I wonder if your face hurts, Senior? At this moment, the Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, and Du Fei mocked to their heart's content. Previously, they had been angered by the other party and couldn't fight back at all. Now that Lin Xian had cut out the divine light, they could finally hold their heads high. Hearing the other party's mockery, Tuoba Yulong's face was extremely gloomy. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. As the elder of the Tuoba family and a powerful seeker spirit master, he had never been mocked like this. He had indeed made a slip of the tongue and said that it was a useless rock. Then the other party cut out the divine light, giving these people something to use against him. It made him extremely uncomfortable. However, he still snorted coldly. What are you so proud of? It's just a light. Do you really think that this kid's thing can compare to my mutated divine crystal? How ridiculous. That's right. At most, it's just a supreme grade substandard divine crystal. How can it compare to the thing our elder cut out? Tuoba also snorted coldly. Humph! Whether you can cut it out or not, you're going to lose this competition. The Thousand Thunder Saint also gritted his teeth. These people all had a glimmer of hope in their hearts. They thought that Lin Xian was no match for Tuoba Yulong at all. But gradually they stopped talking, and their faces became even more unsightly than before, because the stone in Lin Xian's hand was shining more and more brightly, like a rainbow bridge surrounding it. In fact, there was even a fragrance wafting out, causing one to be intoxicated by it. How magical! I feel my blood boiling. More than that, I even feel that I'm about to break through my cultivation bottleneck. Why do I feel that my body is full of vitality? Even the older generation figures who were living fossils were puzzled. What is this? Could it be that it's not a treasure like a divine crystal? For a moment, everyone was extremely puzzled. They all stared at the strange stone in Lin Xian's hand. The surface of the strange stone in Lin Xian's hand fell off, and the light became brighter and brighter, forming a seven-colored rainbow bridge that circled around him. Not only that, but there was also a strange fragrance lingering in the air, causing the crowd to be extremely confused. At this moment, even those living fossil-level old men became excited. Lin Xian's expression was even more solemn. He knew that he might have gotten something incredible this time. Not daring to be careless in the slightest, he activated his martial Dao Heavenly Eye while using his other hand as a blade to carefully slice the air. As more and more layers of stone fell off, the treasures within were about to be completely revealed to the crowd. At this moment, Lin Ruoxuan frowned. He quickly said, "Ruzalong, quickly set up a formation to seal the entire space. This thing is trying to escape." What? Trying to escape? Could it be a living creature? Everyone was shocked. As for the older generation figures and living fossil elders, their expressions all changed. Even Tuoba Yulong had a look of horror on his face. They were not ordinary people. Naturally, they had heard of the legends of these strange stones. One of the most dangerous types was that a living creature could be found after being cut out. This was definitely a major event that would shock the world. Even those living fossil-level old men had solemn expressions as they prepared to make a move. After hearing this, the Crimson Dragon waved its dragon claws even more. Immediately, countless spiritual runes flickered, forming a formation that completely enveloped Lin Xian and the strange stone in his hand. Not only that, he also released a strange power that surrounded the strange stone to prevent it from escaping. Lin Xian also used the Dragon Sword domain to envelop the surroundings. His fingers were like lightning, constantly cutting down. Ka, ka, ka. Finally, all the layers of stone fell off, and the light became even brighter, and the fragrance became even more overwhelming. Buzz! The ball of light finally moved, turning into a bolt of lightning and instantly escaping into the distance. Buzz! Fortunately, there was the sealing formation set up by the Crimson Dragon and Lin Xian's Dragon Sword domain. The light directly collided with a barrier, causing a nameless vibration. The void vibrated, and countless runes flickered, making everyone unable to open their eyes. What exactly is that thing? How can it be so powerful? Could it really be a living creature? At this moment, Tuoba Yulong's eyes glowed with purple light, like two bolts of purple lightning staring at the sky. Not only him, but those living fossil-level old men's eyes were also as sharp as rainbows, because they wanted to confirm whether it was a living creature or not. If it really was a living creature, then there would probably be a huge change. But fortunately, they all heaved a sigh of relief in the next moment, because they realized that it was not what they had imagined. The living fossil elders heaved a sigh of relief, but Tuoba Yulong's expression was extremely ugly. Although it wasn't a living creature, it was still a very mysterious thing. The preciousness of this kind of thing made him extremely shocked. He was afraid that his mutated divine crystal had met its match. Seeing that the other party wanted to escape, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Countless sword chi revolved in the dragon sword domain, forming two large azure dragon hands that grabbed forward. The azure dragon hands emitted a hazy light and caught the ball of light, bringing it back to Lin Xian. Humph! With a cold snort, Lin Xian's eyes were like lightning. His martial Dao heavenly eye released dazzling runes and stared at the ball of light. Then he waved his hand, and the ball of light was immediately exposed in front of everyone. What is it? Everyone was curious. They all craned their necks and looked forward. Even the Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, Du Fei, and the Thousand Thunder Saint on the opposite side all looked over. In the next moment, they were extremely shocked. A spirit herb. It's actually a spirit herb, an expert exclaimed, extremely excited. That's right. That ball of light, which was the treasure that Lin Xian had cut out, was a spirit herb. It was only the size of a palm, and it was a brown spirit herb with roots, branches, and leaves. However, it did not seem complete. It was only a part. However, even with that being the case, the fragrance that was emitted was still extremely intoxicating, because this was not an ordinary spirit herb, but an ancient spirit herb that had already gone extinct. Could it be the legendary turtle spirit herb? An elder's voice trembled with excitement. What? Turtle spirit herb? What's that? The young disciples did not know what it was because this herb had long gone extinct. As for those living fossils of the older generation, they were indeed very excited. That's right, it's turtle spirit herb. I've seen it in an ancient book before. Legend has it that this herb can increase a martial artist's lifespan. It's a kind of immortal medicine. What? It can increase one's lifespan. Everyone was shocked. Chapter 16:27. A martial artist's lifespan was generally linked to their cultivation base. In other words, the higher their cultivation base, the longer their lifespan. But no matter how long it was, there was a limit. For example, the few living fossil-level old men in the field had already lived for more than 3,000 years. Their lifespan didn't have many years left. Perhaps they still had 10 or 20 years, but it wouldn't be much longer. But now, a spirit medicine that could increase their lifespan had appeared in front of them. This was absolutely a huge opportunity. Lin Xian was also extremely shocked when he heard this. Although he had refined pills that could increase a person's lifespan on the Martial Heaven continent, those pills were only useful to people below the king level. To these old monsters at the king realm, it was completely useless. But now, the spirit medicine in his hand was actually useful to these living fossils of the older generation. How could they not go crazy? With this spirit medicine and a powerful alchemist, perhaps they really could refine a peerless divine pill that could increase their lifespan. So even Tuoba Yulong, who had a deep relationship with Lin Xian, was extremely excited. He was also incomparably old, and probably didn't have many more years to live. But Lin Xian had actually managed to obtain such a peerless spirit medicine that made him extremely jealous. Why wasn't I the one who obtained such an immortal medicine? Tuoba Yulong's entire body was twisted. As for the living fossils, they looked at Lin Xian with shining eyes. Kid, are you selling this turtle spirit grass? I'll pay 3 divine crystals. What do you think? What? 3 divine crystals? Everyone was shocked, their mouths twitching. This was truly extravagant. 3 divine crystals in one go. One had to know that a single divine crystal was enough to cause a huge commotion. But now, someone was actually using 3 divine crystals to buy a single herb. Lin Xian was also extremely excited. It seemed he had really made a killing this time. However, he still said, "Seniors, it's not that I don't want to sell it, but My bet with the Tuoba family hasn't been completed yet. What's the point of betting? You've already won, said one of the living fossils impatiently. That's right. The other elders also agreed. Divine crystals have a price, but spiritual herbs are priceless. Moreover, this is a spiritual medicine that can prolong one's lifespan. It far surpasses that mutated divine crystal. Hearing this, the crowd burst into an uproar. On the other side, Tuoba Yulong was trembling with anger. He even coughed up a mouthful of blood. Elder, senior, seeing this, Tuoba Yi, the unfettered saint, and the others hurriedly went to support Tuoba Yulong. They kept consoling Tuoba Yulong so that he wouldn't be angered to death by the situation before him. The 10,000 Thunder Saint also froze on the spot, as if he had been struck by lightning. His face was terrifyingly gloomy. Lost, he actually lost. To be honest, he never thought that he would actually lose. After all, they had the extremely powerful Tuoba Yulong on their side. Furthermore, the other party had even taken out a mutated divine crystal which had made him think that his side would definitely win. But he didn't expect that the kid in front of him would actually cut out an even more precious elixir of immortality. He had turned the tables around and won. This was unacceptable to him. After all, he hadn't only lost face this time, but also his weapon, the 10,000 lightning hammer. That was his weapon. Now that he had lost to his opponent, his heart was bleeding. Lin Xian had actually won. Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Before this, they had never thought that the winner of this bet would be Lin Xian. Tuoba Yulong was too famous. No one had ever thought that he would lose. However, Lin Xian was even stronger and more skillful. He had actually cut out an elixir of immortality that shocked everyone. The 10,000 Thunder Saints' face darkened at this result. Even Tuoba Yulong was so angry that he coughed up blood. However, the situation on Lin Xian's side was very different. He was surrounded by several living fossils of the older generation. They were all bidding to buy the elixir of immortality in his hand. Kid, I'll pay 4 divine crystals. How about you sell it to me? This old man was wearing an ancient robe, and his teeth were almost all gone. However, his eyes were brighter than lightning at this moment. Lin Xian knew that this was definitely an extremely terrifying old man. On the other side, someone offered an even higher price. I'll pay 5 divine crystals. Everyone was stunned when they heard this price. They couldn't believe that these people were actually bidding with divine crystals as the base price. After a round of bidding, the elixir of immortality was finally won by an old man. He was the old man who had agreed to pawn Fatty Luo's silver token. At the same time, he was also an elder of the Wavering Light sacred land behind the stone gambling meat. This time, he had used 6 divine crystals, a top-notch earth-grade cultivation technique, and returned the silver token to obtain the turtle spirit herb in Lin Xian's possession. Lin Xian agreed to this condition without hesitation. This condition was so generous that he couldn't refuse it. The surrounding people were even more shocked. All eyes fell on Lin Xian. They didn't even try to hide the greed in their eyes. It couldn't be helped. 6 divine crystals, a top-notch earth-grade cultivation technique, was really coveted. Lin Xian was shocked when he sensed the gazes around him. He knew that many people had their eyes on him this time. Lin Xian took a deep breath and put away the items he had obtained. At the same time, he returned the silver token to Fatty Luo. Then he looked at Tuoba Yulong and the others again. Thank you for letting me win, Senior Tuoba. Lin Xian laughed heartily. Then he turned his gaze to the myriad lightning sage. Thank you for your myriad lightning hammer. I'll accept it without hesitation. With that, he waved his hand and summoned the myriad lightning hammer to his side. Everyone gasped when they saw this scene. The fire in their eyes became even more obvious. The myriad lightning hammer was a mid-grade, Earth-grade treasure. This was definitely a treasure that could tempt most people. Lin Xian naturally knew this as well. He already had 6 divine crystals and a top-notch Earth-grade cultivation technique on him. Many people probably wanted to kill him. If he took the myriad lightning hammer now, these people would definitely not let him off. Therefore, he grinned at Fatty Luo and Du Fei and said, "I'll give you this myriad lightning hammer. What do you think?" "Really? Thank you, Brother Lin." Fatty Luo laughed heartily and accepted it right away. Du Fei also said loudly, "The myriad lightning hammer already belongs to the 2 of us. Anyone who dares to have any ideas about it should think about our backgrounds first. Also, myriad lightning sage, if the myriad lightning sect is unconvinced, feel free to look for us. The 10 villains will accompany you to the end." Chapter 16:28. Holy Son of the Thousand Thunder Sect. Feel free to look for us. If you don't agree, we, the 10 villains, will accompany you to the end. The 2 of them naturally knew what Lin Xian meant. If Lin Xian held on to such a precious treasure, he would definitely be targeted by others. Moreover, the Thousand Thunder Sect would not let Lin Xian go. However, it was different in their hands. They had the 10 villains behind them. If anyone wanted to touch them, they would have to consider whether they could bear the revenge of the 10 villains. Seeing this scene, the crowd fell silent. Many of them even shook their heads and sighed. Indeed, Fatty Luo and Du Fei's identities were too sensitive. They were the descendants of the 10 villains. Who would dare to provoke them? Therefore, many people gave up on the idea of using the 1,000 Thunder Hammer. However, the Holy Son of the 1,000 Thunder Sect was gnashing his teeth. It seemed that he would not give up so easily. "Junior, I'll remember you. I'll make you pay 100-fold for what you did today," Tuoba Yulong said through gritted teeth. He was still very angry even now. "I'll be waiting for you, Senior. I hope you'll prepare more for the next bet. It's really not enough this time." Lin Xian shrugged, not caring at all. The next time they met, he would definitely be more powerful. Therefore, he was not afraid of them at all. Soon, the Tuoba family, the Holy Son of the 1,000 Thunder Sect, and the others gritted their teeth and left. The reason for that was because they simply did not have the face to continue staying there. However, before they left, Tuoba Yulong and the Holy Son of the 1,000 Thunder Sect's cold eyes made them shudder with fear. Even Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It seemed that he should be careful to prevent the other party from plotting against him. Next, Lin Xian and the others also left. This time, they did not make any more moves. The previous bet had made them famous, and at the same time, they had obtained great returns. Therefore, Lin Xian did not plan to make any more moves to avoid being targeted. Moreover, there was another reason. He wanted to start looking for the young man called Hongyu. This was because he still had to complete the sex mission. Lin Xian felt that it might be difficult to find such a young man in the vast sea of people. However, half a day later, he discovered that it seemed that it was not difficult at all to find him. This was because another bet had taken place in the Sacred Hall, and it was a huge one. It did not lose out to Lin Xian's bet. Suddenly, the entire Sacred Hall was in an uproar again. Countless warriors gathered in front of them. Lin Xian and the others were curious and asked around. There were actually people betting in the 6th region. Moreover, one of the people who made the bet shocked Lin Xian. His name was Hongyu. Could it be him? Lin Xian was tempted. "Let's go take a look," he said to the Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, Du Fei, and the others. Fatty Luo, Crimson Dragon, and the others were all people who loved to join in on the fun, so they all came to the 6th zone excitedly. There was a sea of people in the 6th zone. It was not inferior to the scene of Lin Xian's bet at all. Lin Xian and the others were all experts, so they could see the situation clearly even without standing at the front. There were 2 figures standing there. One of them was a young man with red lips, white teeth and delicate features. He was only 15 or 16 years old. Hong Yu, it should be him. Lin Xian's eyes lit up when he saw the young man. He had finally found the target that the sect had given him. Of course, he did not go forward or greet him. His mission was very simple. He only needed to observe him silently and record everything about him. In front of Hong Yu was a group of people. The one at the front was an old man. He was dressed in a Taoist robe and had the demeanor of an immortal. His eyes flashed with a sharp light. Beside him stood a handsome young man in a colorful robe. He exuded a supreme aura. He was the Five Elements Saint of the Five Elements sect. The old man was also a very famous seeker spirit master. His strength was not much weaker than Tuoba Yulong's. It was another young seeker spirit master gambling with a powerful figure of the older generation. This naturally attracted everyone's attention. And this time, the young man was even younger. He was only 15 or 16 years old. He was even younger than Lin Xian by 5 or 6 years. Therefore, this attracted even more attention. That handsome young man, Hong Yu, was indeed extraordinary. His eyes emitted a strange red light. In fact, there were even strange Dao runes appearing in his eyes. Those eyes, in the crowd, a few living fossils of the elders had solemn expressions. They seemed to have thought of something, but they were not too sure. Lin Xian's expression was also very solemn. He did not know what kind of eye technique Hong Yu's eyes used, but based on his instincts and martial path celestial eye, he knew that Hong Yu's eye technique must be very powerful. It might not be weaker than his martial path celestial eye. No wonder the sect wants to investigate this young man. What a powerful eye technique. Lin Xian was shocked as he observed. On the other side, there were also two figures standing outside the crowd. Both of them were wearing large black robes that completely covered their bodies. However, one could vaguely see that one was a handsome young man, and the other was a tall, middle-aged man. These two were the mysterious people who often appeared, but no one had expected them to come to the sacred palace. The tall, middle-aged man looked at the intense gambling in front of him, and a smile appeared on his face. Is that your younger brother? Not bad. He already has such an eye technique at such a young age. The handsome youth nodded slightly. Indeed, I did not expect him to improve so quickly. But it's not enough. Our time is limited. We cannot wait too long. We must let him grow faster. At the end, the handsome youth's expression turned cold. Are you really going to attack him? He's your younger brother. The tall, middle-aged man smiled. I wonder if you can do it. So, what if he's my younger brother? Compared to power, everything else is fleeting clouds. The handsome youth's voice was cold. It was bone-chilling like a cold wind. The two of them were communicating through voice transmission. Since they were standing in a remote area, no one noticed them. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on the young man and the pale old man, because the gambling between the two of them was too exciting. Hong Yu's eyes emitted a red light. With a shocking Dao pattern, he quickly scanned the strange stones and chose one. On the other side, the old man that the Five Elements Saint had invited was also extraordinary. He was an extremely famous seeker spirit master. His eyes also emitted a bright light. Not only that, but he was also proficient in an extremely powerful seeker spirit technique. As he waved his old fingers, runes flashed like a miracle. In the end, both of them chose treasures. Divine light overflowed and fragrance filled the air. It was like a rainbow. However, in the end, Hong Yu's item was better, and he won the final victory. This result caused everyone to suck in a breath of cold air. Chapter 1629. The Five Elements Saint and the martial artists from the Five-Star sect all looked gloomy. To be honest, they did not believe that the seeker spirit master they had invited would lose to a young man. This was really too surprising. How could this be? The five elements saint's face darkened. The seeker spirit master he had invited also sighed. I'm useless. That young man's eye technique is too strange. I didn't lose unjustly this time. What? You're saying that his victory was not a fluke? The five elements saint was even more surprised. He had originally thought that the other party was just lucky and had won. But now, it seemed that this was not the case. Could that young man really have a pair of godly eyes? Could he see through everything? On the other side, Lin Xian was also extremely shocked. This result was also beyond his expectations. He did not expect that young man called Hong Yu to be so powerful. It seemed that he was not weaker than him. At the same time, what made him even more confused was what the sect wanted to do to this young man. This was because he now knew that Danzong was hiding a huge secret. He did not know what those people were plotting. Now that this strange young man had a connection with Danzong, Lin Xian felt even more uneasy. He had a vague feeling that Danzong might do something crazy in the near future. However, he could not figure out what it was, so he could only wait patiently. At least, if Danzong's secret was revealed to the world, then he would have an explanation to the Niwa of Gojoseon. Only then could the 10,000 beast Ding truly become his weapon and be used by him. Otherwise, if Danzong's secret was kept hidden, the 10,000 beast Ding might leave him one day. Behind them, the handsome young man and the tall middle-aged man laughed when they saw this scene. Then, the two of them looked at each other. The show is over. Looks like it's time for us to make a move. The handsome young man sneered. Ha ha, my sword has been thirsty for a long time. The tall middle-aged man's eyes flashed with madness. In the next moment, the two of them disappeared like ghosts. Similarly, no one noticed this scene. That was because they were still in shock from Hong Yu's victory. But soon, everyone was shocked. Even Lin Xian was shocked, because there was a sudden uproar in the 10th district of the temple. Terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Who dares to attack in the temple? You're courting death. A furious roar rang out, containing an extremely terrifying power. Even the living fossils were frowning. As for the surrounding crowd, they were all extremely shocked. They did not dare to believe their eyes. Someone actually dares to make a move here? Don't they want to live anymore? That's right. The sacred temple is an ancient ruin. Moreover, there are countless experts here. There are even living fossil-like existences here. How would those people dare to make a move? No matter who did it, he's dead for sure. The Yaoguang Holy Land and the Gu clan are behind the sacred hall. One was a peerless holy land, and the other was the desolate ancient world. With such terrifying strength, who would dare to provoke him? Everyone quickly discussed among themselves. They all believed that no matter who it was, they would definitely die. But the result was out of everyone's expectations. Because that energy, riot was not immediately suppressed. Instead, it became more and more intense. Even when they were standing in the 6th district, they could feel it. What? Who is it that possesses such terrifying energy now? Dare to make a move in the temple? It's over. I'm afraid something big is going to happen. Everyone was shocked. While Lin Xian's brows were also tightly knitted, he operated his martial Dao heavenly eye. His gaze was like lightning as he directly looked ahead. Under the effect of the martial Dao heavenly eye, Lin Xian could see that the 10th district was currently in the midst of a terrifying energy frenzy. Not only that, what made him even more shocked was that he saw an illusory large hand blotting out the sky and covering the earth. It was grabbing towards the few most precious wondrous stones in the 10th district. This made him even more shocked. The 10th district was the last district in the temple. The wondrous stones contained within were absolutely incomparably precious. There were even stones transported from the primordial ancient mine, this kind of forbidden land. One piece was enough to match all the stones in the other districts. But now, someone actually made a move on this kind of stone. It was seriously too shocking. Damn, this is a real fierce person. He actually dares to make a move here. Fatty Luo's face was also filled with shock. I dare to bet that no matter who it is, the person who makes a move will definitely shock the entire eastern wilderness. Du Fei's mouth was also agape. The Crimson Dragon's face was filled with suspicion. He stared at the two of them and said, "Damn, don't tell me your elders made a move? You mean the 10 villains?" Lin Xian's eyelids twitched. To be honest, in the entire eastern wasteland, perhaps only the 10 great villains had such strength and audacity. Hearing this, Fatty Luo and Du Fei's bodies trembled. They hurriedly shook their heads. "Are you kidding? It definitely wasn't my grandfather who did it." "Indeed, it wasn't. Brother Lin, you don't know. If it was my grandfather and the others, they wouldn't make a move like this. They would directly smash this temple and rob it." Du Fei also shook his head. Lin Xian, Crimson Dragon. The two of them were speechless. All right, it seemed that they had underestimated the 10 villains. But if it wasn't the 10 villains, who could it be? Just as they were thinking, the situation in front of them changed. The illusory hand was extremely terrifying. It directly slapped away the surrounding powerful guards and grabbed 3 of the strange stones. These 3 stones were all transported from the Primordium ancient mine. "Damn it! Stop it!" Angry roars rang out one after another. The bodyguards around them were too aggrieved. This was because the 10th district was filled with strange stones, and each of them was extremely precious. They didn't dare to use their full strength at all. Otherwise, the energy would destroy the entire 10th district, and those strange stones would no longer exist. They couldn't bear the consequences, so they could only attack within a controlled range. But this way, their strength would be much weaker. But the illusory hand didn't care at all. It exploded with all its power. That was why it forced them to retreat. This scene caused everyone to be shocked. Some of the living fossil elders also made a move. Their power was extremely terrifying, but they controlled it so precisely that not a single stone was damaged. The shocking energy surged forward like a tidal wave. However, the illusory hand was even faster. It grabbed the 3 strange stones transported from the Primordium ancient mine and retreated in an instant. It didn't bother them at all. It seemed that the other party's goal was very obvious. It was these stones transported from the Primordium ancient mine. "Damn it! Team 1, seal the 10th district. Team 2, Team 3, and Team 5 chase after the enemy. The other teams stay in the temple to maintain order. If anyone dares to move, kill without mercy." At this moment, an old and cold voice sounded, instantly enveloping the entire temple. Chapter 1630. Then, powerful martial artists in black armor rushed out like a flood. Some sealed the 10th district, while others chased after them. However, most of them quickly spread throughout the sacred hall. These people exuded a cold, murderous aura. If anyone dared to act rashly, they would definitely attack without mercy. Seeing this scene, everyone's scalp went numb. They did not dare to move. Now, they knew that something shocking had happened. If anyone dared to move, the consequences would be dire. However, more people rose into the air, left the sacred hall, and chased outside. This was because they also wanted to see who was so daring to make a move here. Let them go. At this moment, the cold and old voice sounded again. The surrounding enforcement team did not stop the dancers who were leaving. This was because there were too many wonderstones in the sacred hall, even the wavering light sacred land, and the Goof family would not want to fight in the sacred hall. Therefore, they also hoped that these martial artists would leave. Soon, all the martial artists had left the sacred hall. The entire holy temple was sealed by a few living fossils of the elders with great magic power. Even if an almighty came, he would not be able to break it. At the same time, another 3 enforcement teams quickly left the sacred hall and chased after the dancers. Lin Xian and the others naturally followed the crowd and left the sacred hall. Not only that, not long after they left, they saw an intense battle. As the top forces, the Wavering Light Sacred Land, and the Gu family naturally had terrifying martial artists. These enforcement teams were extremely powerful. At this moment, they attacked with all their might and soon fought with those who had snatched the Wonder Stones. However, those who had snatched the Wonder Stones seemed to be even more powerful. Therefore, dozens of enforcement team members died very quickly. Their bodies exploded and turned into a bloody mist. It was very tragic. Seal. With a long howl, the 3 fossil-level old men flew out and attacked. In the sky, Dao inscriptions appeared, and rays of light filled the sky. In an instant, the entire void was sealed. In fact, even Lin Xian was able to sense the energy. Damn, what is the meaning of this? Even we are sealed together. The Crimson Dragon frowned. As an array expert, he could naturally feel the difference in the surrounding space. Evidently, not only had those living fossil elders sealed the place where the battle had taken place, but they had also sealed all of them in this space. Not only the Crimson Dragon, but the surrounding martial artists also noticed this, causing an uproar and panic. What do you mean? Why did you seal this space? That's right. Why won't you let us leave? You've gone too far. Everyone roared. At this moment, an old man in the sky said coldly, "Everyone, please don't be alarmed. We are only eliminating the culprit. As long as we can confirm or capture the person who did it, we will let you go. However, during this period of time, I hope that you all will obediently stand here and not move. Otherwise, we will treat you all as enemies and kill you all." Hearing this, everyone felt their scalps go numb, and despair filled their faces. From the looks of it, the other party would not let them go until they found the murderer. Damn it, who did it? Everyone gritted their teeth. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. Now that he couldn't leave, he could only look ahead and carefully observe the battle. After all, this kind of battle between experts was very attractive to him. In front of him, countless experts gathered. On the side of the law enforcement team, many king domains shrouded the area. Every domain was extremely terrifying and full of power. However, in the chaos of the storm, a purple saber light suddenly lit up. Demonic chi surged, and the purple saber light was thousands of feet long. As soon as it appeared, it brought with it a terrifying energy that spread in all directions. Suddenly, the surrounding martial artists and those who were watching the battle from afar trembled, and a trace of fear appeared in their eyes. What a terrifying saber light! Who is it? Many experts exclaimed because they realized that the purple saber light was too powerful. Even Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He even felt the threat of death from the saber light. In front of him, the purple saber light that was thousands of feet long was surrounded by countless runes. It was like a long purple river, surging and roaring. As the saber slashed down, dozens of king domains were instantly split in half. The originally bright light also quickly dimmed. Not only that, the king domain experts of the law enforcement team vomited large mouthfuls of blood, and their faces turned pale. What? So powerful! He split so many king domains with one saber. Seeing the king domain experts, even the martial artists of the Yaoguang Sacred Land, and the Gu family looked grave. The strength of the other party was beyond their expectations. Damn it, who are you? How dare you attack us? Aren't you afraid of being hunted down by the Yaoguang Sacred Land and the Gu family? A middle-aged man in black armor stood in the sky and shouted coldly, "Humph, cut the crap. Since we dare to attack you, we naturally won't be afraid of you. I advise you old fellows to release the seal quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. An extremely arrogant voice came from the front. Humph, you are trapped by our elders, and you still want to escape? You must be dreaming. The living fossil elders are indeed powerful, but their energy is limited. Every time they attack, they consume their lifespan. I don't believe that you are willing to let them attack continuously. I'm afraid that even the clan of the ancients and the peerless sacred lands can't afford to lose a living fossil elder. The voice in front of them sounded again, and it didn't seem to be nervous. Damn it, damn it. On the side of the sacred palace, many of them had ugly expressions. The reason for that was because what he said was correct. The spatial seal was created by the joint efforts of several living fossil elders. However, those elders didn't have much lifespan left. Every time they attacked, they consumed their energy. The other party knew it very well, and it was obvious that they had come prepared. Humph, it's okay. We won't attack. We'll just use the seal. It won't consume much energy. One of the living fossil elders said coldly. His teeth were almost falling out, but his eyes were sharper than a blade. The surrounding people held their breaths and observed carefully. Lin Xian frowned and asked softly, living fossils can't be attacked easily. To be honest, he didn't know about this before. On the side, the Crimson Dragon explained, indeed, we can't attack casually at their age. I'm afraid they won't live for more than a few years. Their lives are supported by their own energy. Attacking rashly will consume their energy and their lifespan. Chapter 1631. Back then, I even saw a living fossil elder of a sacred ground fight with his full strength. Although he won in the end, he exhausted his lifespan and couldn't come back to life. That's true. These living fossils usually don't attack. They only exist as a deterrent. Fatty Luo and Du Fei also explained in a low voice. I see. Lin Xian nodded to show that he understood. It seemed that the people who attacked this time had calculated this point, which was why they robbed the sacred palace. However, the sacred palace was backed by the sacred ground and the clan of the ancients. Therefore, even if these living fossil elders didn't attack, the remaining people were still extremely powerful. For example, the captain of the law enforcement team in black armor. At this moment, he stepped forward, his body emitting a black light. He held a black spear in his hand, which was like a spear from the demonic realm and filled with terrifying energy. As he thrust his spear forward, the sky was filled with black spear lights, which were like countless black streams of light that completely covered the sky. Six-Star King, let me play with you. The arrogant voice sounded across, and then a figure appeared. The figure was extremely tall, but his entire body was covered in a black robe, so it was impossible to see his true appearance. Even when Lin Xian used his martial Dao heavenly eye to observe him, he found that there was a layer of mysterious energy on his body that blocked all probing. That towering figure stood in the void like a demonic god. In the face of the black spear lights that covered the sky, he still didn't move like a pine tree. However, when the black spear lights were less than 100 meters away from him, the tall figure finally moved. He waved his hand, and a purple beast claw quickly formed in the sky. It was dark like a mass of purple fog, completely covering the sky. Accompanying it were thunder, lightning, and strong winds. Boom! As the tall man moved, the huge purple claw quickly descended. Immediately, the surrounding lightning intertwined, forming a terrifying scene. The scene was so terrifying that the entire sky was instantly torn apart. A violent aura swept out in all directions, causing everyone to tremble. The beast claw swept across the sky, covering the sky and the earth, and collided with the black spear shadows. Boom! In an instant, The purple beast claw shattered a large area of black spear lights. Not only that, the beast claw attacked the captain of the law enforcement team at an even faster speed. Sweep the world! The law enforcement captain's pupils shrank. He did not expect the purple beast claw to be so terrifying that it could shatter his spear light. With a furious roar, he held the black spear with both hands and swept it out in front of him. At this moment, the black spear seemed to have turned into a black dragon as it rapidly rolled around. The powerful aura made everyone tremble. How terrifying! In the crowd, Lin Xian also exclaimed. Runes flashed in his martial Dao heavenly eye. He quickly stared at every detail. A battle of this level was very valuable to him. In the distance, the black spear rolled, producing an extremely terrifying black light. In the next moment, it suddenly erupted and swept forward. Suddenly, the space in front of him turned completely black. Every inch of the void was filled with the power of the black spear. This was the full power attack of a 6-star king, and it was terrifying to the extreme. Boom! Another earth-shattering sound rang out, but the result was out of everyone's expectations. The purple beast claw mercilessly slammed down, instantly destroying the black torrent. Not only that, the terrifying purple beast claw had an unparalleled destructive power, as if it could destroy everything. In an instant, the law enforcement captain was sent flying. Puff! The law enforcement captain's entire body was trembling, and the black armor on his body was full of cracks. Blood immediately splattered in the sky. Everyone was stunned and could not believe it. In particular, the members of the sacred palace were even more terrified. They knew the strength of the law enforcement captain. He was not a 6-star king, but extremely powerful. It was difficult to find a match for him under the Almighty. However, now he was seriously injured by a single claw. It was hard to imagine how powerful that purple beast claw was. Impossible. Who are you? On the sacred palace's side, countless experts shouted coldly. In the distant crowd, everyone also exclaimed, "Damn it! This power? Is he an almighty?" What? An almighty? After Lin Xian heard it, he was also extremely shocked. He had seen the power of an almighty. Previously, he had met 5 almighties in Feng Mountain. The power of those people could be said to be monstrous. They could destroy everything with a raise of their hand. In front of him, although he could not see the true cultivation aura of the tall, mysterious person, he was able to seriously injure a 6-star king with a single palm. Perhaps only an almighty could do that. Humph, I said, you guys are not enough. Hurry up and release the seal, and everyone will be safe. Otherwise, don't blame me for starting a massacre. The tall, mysterious figure said coldly. At this moment, he was standing in the void, surrounded by a terrifying aura, and a purple beast claw was floating above his head. He was like a god fiend, extremely terrifying. Humph, so what if you were an almighty? How dare you touch the things of the sacred palace? No one can save you today. On the sacred palace's side, everyone roared angrily. Indeed, so what if he was an almighty? The sacred palace was formed by the Wavering Light Sacred Land and the clan of the ancients. Their foundation was not something that ordinary people could imagine. Therefore, very soon, an expert walked out. You just behaved atrociously in the sacred palace, so you can stay here today. This time, an old man walked out. His hair was white, and his entire body was filled with blood. He was not an old man at the level of a living fossil, but he was still an elder. At this moment, as he walked, the entire void was strangely distorted, as if it could not withstand his power. An almighty! Everyone exclaimed, their scalps tingling. Only an almighty could have such terrifying power. As expected of the sacred palace, It was extremely terrifying. They had sent out an almighty so quickly. An almighty. However, the mysterious figure sneered and continued to move the purple beast claw above his head, slamming it down quickly. The void was torn apart, and the demonic aura was tumbling. The purple beast claw was like a dark cloud covering the sky and earth as it fell mercilessly. Petty tricks! Watch me break you! The almighty old man snorted, and suddenly a violent force of wind and thunder appeared behind him. Instantly, the area within a radius of dozens of miles turned into a space of wind and thunder. The violent force of thunder and lightning raged in the air, forming a powerful energy that was extremely shocking. The huge space of wind and thunder completely enveloped the mysterious figure. Wind and thunder territory. That's right, this was the Almighty's territory. At this moment, the Almighty's wind and thunder territory was extremely powerful. It was as if the god of thunder could dominate the entire space. At the back, although Lin Xian and the others were not enveloped by the wind and thunder territory, the aftershocks that were emitted were enough to shock them. One could imagine how terrifying the power of the mysterious figure who was in the wind and thunder territory would be. Chapter 1632. Behind them, Lin Xian and the others were not enveloped by the wind-lightning domain, but the shock waves that were emitted were enough to shock them. One could only imagine how terrifying the power of the mysterious person in the wind-lightning domain would be. Humph! You're dead in my wind-lightning domain. There's no way out. The Sacred Hall elder snorted. Then he waved his hand. Immediately, countless bolts of lightning and wind in the sky turned into a terrifying energy attack that shot towards the mysterious person. Meanwhile, the mysterious figure wielded his purple beast claw and slammed it in all directions. Waves of energy collided, bursting out a terrifying black hole that flickered. The entire wind-lightning domain was howling. In the wind-lightning domain of the Sacred Hall Elder, the mysterious figure's strength was suppressed to a certain extent. Therefore, his purple beast claw was completely penetrated by the lightning after 30 moves. Countless gusts of wind turned into a 100-foot-long crescent-shaped blade that instantly shredded the purple beast claw into pieces. Seeing that the opponent's beast claw was destroyed, the Sacred Hall warriors immediately cheered. The people in the distance were also amazed. As expected of a mighty, his attack was so powerful that he could even destroy such a terrifying beast claw. However, Lin Xian frowned, because through his martial Dao heavenly eye, he discovered that the mysterious figure did not seem to be anxious at all. In other words, the other party still had a trump card that he had not used. Mighty, what a good move. You deserve my full strength. The corners of the mysterious figure's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a sinister smile. My blade has been thirsty for a long time. I hope your blood can satisfy it. Humph, you're about to die, and you still dare to be so stubborn. The Sacred Hall elder snorted coldly, his expression extremely cold. He did not believe that the other party could resist his wind-lightning domain. Opposite him, the tall figure waved his hand and grabbed the huge weapon on his back. Immediately, a huge long blade appeared in front of everyone. The long blade was as tall as a person, and it was dark purple in color. There were mysterious runes on it, like demonic runes. It was very strange. From afar, it looked like the scales of some kind of wild beast emitting a cold purple light. Not only that, there were 2 yellowish-brown eyes at the tip of the blade, one on the left and one on the right. It was very mysterious. What kind of weapon is this? It's so weird. Everyone was shocked because they discovered that just by looking at that strange large blade, they felt a chill run through their bodies, as if they had been stabbed by a sharp blade. Even Lin Xian and the others narrowed their eyes. because those two yellowish-brown eyes made him feel very uncomfortable, as if he was being stared at by a peerless beast. "Damn it, what is this thing? It's so strange." Even Fatty Luo and Du Fei had serious expressions on their faces. That purple broadsword was too evil, making everyone's hair stand on end. His appearance even caused the entire wind and thunder domain to tremble uneasily. Damn it, how is this possible? When the old man from the sacred temple saw this, his face turned ugly. He didn't expect his opponent's weapon to be so strange. Suppress him. With a cold snort, his entire body blossomed with resplendent light. Mysterious patterns revolved around him, and countless bolts of lightning surged. The entire wind and thunder domain burst out with dazzling light. Lei Chong, with an angry roar, the wind and thunder domain immediately spun rapidly. Endless bolts of lightning carried a violent wind, exploding with a powerful force that smashed towards the mysterious person in front. This attack mobilized the power of the entire wind and thunder domain, and it was extremely violent. In the sky, tens of thousands of bolts of lightning surged, each of them hundreds of feet long. They were like thunder dragons roaring endlessly. Beside them, there were countless crescent-shaped wind blades that shone with starlight and were extremely sharp, attacks that blotted out the sky and covered the earth quickly enveloped the tall figure. "Ha ha! Break for me!" However, in the face of such a violent attack, the tall figure was not afraid at all. He even let out a cold laugh. He held the purple broadsword in his hand, then raised his arm and slashed down. Crack! Like a mirror shattering. The shocking broadsword light was so fast that no one could see it clearly. However, the consequences of that were incomparably terrifying. The thunder dragon wind blades that filled the sky were instantly cut in half. Even the places that the blade light passed through were left with a vacuum. What? It was cut in half with one slash? How is this possible? Everyone exclaimed in disbelief. The warriors on the Sacred Hall's side were even more horrified. This time, an Almighty had made a move, and the attack was extremely terrifying. The other party was still able to cut it in half with one slash. It was unbelievable. D*M*, what kind of power is this? The Sacred Hall's Almighty's pupils shrank, and his face turned ugly. He was very confident in his attack. This attack could kill anyone below the Almighty level. Even among those of the same level, no one could easily withstand it. However, the other party had easily cut his attack apart with one slash. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would not have believed it at all. Humph. Next, take my attack. On the opposite side, the tall figure snorted coldly. At this moment, his black robe was fluttering without wind, shining with a black light like a flag. The purple broadsword in his hand was even more evil. The two yellowish-brown eyes seemed to come alive, and it was extremely strange. Not only that, the purple blade was extremely bright and indestructible. Slash. With a slash, the sharp blade instantly exuded an indescribable pressure and powerful force. The purple blade light carried with it thousands of rays of light, and there were even traces of mysterious Tao runes flowing around it. It was too terrifying. Just the aura alone was enough to make warriors tremble. The entire wind thunder domain also trembled violently in an instant, and cracks even appeared in some places. Boom! In an instant, the purple blade light arrived in front of the Sacred Hall elder, and then suddenly fell. The situation was too terrifying. The sharp blade light could tear a person's soul apart, and it was suffocating. Even the people behind the old man from the Sacred Hall were forced to kneel on the ground by that power. The sharpness was not something they could withstand. The Sacred Hall elder's pupils shrank, and his scalp went numb. He did not expect the other party's power to be so terrifying. Even he was shocked by this slash. D***, block it for me. The slash was too fast, and the others could not react in time. He could only defend himself. With a wave of his hand, the wind-thunder domain around him quickly revolved, and countless lightning and wind blades quickly condensed in front of him. A huge shield appeared out of thin air and stood in front of him. The shield was completely composed of lightning and wind blades, and it emitted a blurry light as if it had traveled through time and space. On its surface, lines of runes crisscrossed. It was like a thunder mountain that stood in the void. This was one of the Sacred Hall Elder's strongest defenses, and even an almighty of the same level could not break it. Chapter 1633. Boom. Not long after the lightning shield was formed, the purple blade, light, quickly slashed down. The two collided, emitting a metallic sound. Terrifying sound waves spread in all directions like the roar of thousands of beasts. Suddenly, the surrounding void split open. Everyone felt their scalps go numb, and some even trembled. For a moment, countless people channeled their spiritual power to seal their ears. Otherwise, they would be killed by the sound. How terrifying! Lin Xian was shocked as well. Streaks of sword aura appeared around him, isolating him from the terrifying sound. Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, and Du Fei did the same. Then they looked ahead with palpitations. At the point of collision, a terrifying light and energy storm erupted. However, the incomparably powerful lightning shield was split in half at this moment. The terrifying purple blade light tore through heaven and earth, directly enveloping the Temple Elder. What? Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked, especially those from the temple who could not believe it. That was their almighty. He was actually injured by someone. Who was the other party? At this moment, everyone was in an uproar. The old man from the Sacred Hall was sent flying while coughing up blood. His bones kept cracking, and it was obvious that many parts of his body had been broken. On his chest, there was a terrifying knife wound. It almost split him in half. As the Temple Elder was sent flying, the terrifying wind and lightning domain disappeared in an instant. The surrounding people were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Lin Xian was also extremely shocked. He did not expect the other party to be so powerful that he could even injure Almighty. What a terrifying blade. Lin Xian took a deep breath, and his martial path eye flickered. Elder! On the other side, the law enforcers cried out in alarm, and one by one they went forward to support the Elder. At this moment, a green domain the size of a house instantly enveloped the Elder. The green domain emitted a hazy light, and then an ancient tree grew in the domain. Countless branches trembled and quickly wrapped around the injured old man. Then, a green light exploded, and a strong vitality quickly spread. The injured elder's body was also recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. "Are you okay?" a middle-aged woman quickly asked. "I'm fine. Although I'm seriously injured, I won't lose my life. But you guys have to be careful. That guy is really too strong and too strange." With the nourishment of the ancient tree, the old man's injuries were much better. However, his eyes were still filled with dread. It was obvious that the previous slash had traumatized him. Hearing the old man's words, the surrounding powerhouses also looked solemn. However, there were also people who snorted coldly. "No matter what, we have to take him down, right? That's a wondrous stone transported from Origin Ancient Mine. We definitely can't lose it. Everyone, let's attack together. I don't believe that he can fight against so many of us." Sounds of discussion could be heard. Then, 3 mighty figures stood out with monstrous auras on their bodies. Apart from them, there were also 7 or 8 six-star kings. Such a lineup could be said to be extremely terrifying. The Sacred Palace's side didn't waste any time. They quickly unleashed their king's domains and charged forward. Whoa! The old man from the Sacred Hall had recovered quite a bit from his injuries. His body flickered as he once again deployed the domain of wind and thunder. In an instant, a spatial domain with a radius of dozens of miles enveloped the surroundings. Thunder and lightning spewed out, and a violent wind blew. The terrifying energy caused the entire void to collapse. Good timing. On the opposite side, the tall figure let out a long roar as endless purple light erupted from his body. The long saber in his hand was incomparably demonic. It was like a demonic beast as it let out a low roar. With a slash of the saber, it split the surrounding thunder and lightning. However, at this moment, another blue domain quickly enveloped the area. This domain was even more terrifying. As soon as it appeared, endless cold air filled the air. The sky was instantly frozen as snowflakes drifted down. Each snowflake could penetrate a king, Frost domain. This was also an Almighty's domain. At this moment, it was unleashed with monstrous power. Just the aftermath alone caused a thick layer of ice to form on the bodies of the surrounding warriors. It was as if their entire bodies had been frozen into ice cubes. What a terrifying frost aura, as expected of an Almighty. This king's domain was indeed powerful. Lin Xian was also shocked. Sword Qi surrounded his body as it flickered, completely isolating the surrounding cold air. As for the Martial Path Heavenly Eye, it was activated to the extreme. His eyes were like two divine rainbows as he stared straight ahead. In front of him, the tall figure was frozen. This is a good opportunity. Let's attack together and kill him. With a cold roar, more than 10 kings attacked. There were even 3 Almighties among them. The energy caused everyone to tremble. Humph! At this moment, the tall figure that was frozen let out a cold snort. Then, countless rays of light shot out from the ice. Each ray turned into a shocking purple saber light that instantly split open. Crack! 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 The ice on his body was instantly shattered into pieces. Not only that, but in front of him, 7 purple saber lights appeared in a row. Each of them was like a purple dragon that roared as it rushed forward. Boom, boom, boom. The 7 sharp saber lights carried billowing demonic aura as they collided with the energy of more than 10 kings. The void completely split open as a vast ocean of energy surged out. A lot of energy swept toward the tall, mysterious figure. The tall, mysterious figure snorted coldly. His body swayed, turned into a purple light, and retreated. However, he soon frowned, because at this moment he was already enveloped by the ice domain. The surrounding ice caused his speed to decrease greatly. Therefore, it did not take long for him to be hit by the energy torrent. Boom! The violent energy exploded, and a figure was sent flying. Great! We hit him! The people from the Sacred Palace heaved a sigh of relief. With several people working together, they finally hit the other party. Moreover, with this energy, even Almighties would be seriously injured, or even killed if they were hit. It seemed that the other party would not be spared. However, in the next moment, their eyes widened, as if they had seen a ghost. That was because the tall, mysterious figure in front of them had indeed been blasted away. The black robe on his body had instantly turned to ashes. However, the other party's aura did not weaken. Instead, it became even stronger. What? How is this possible? Is he not injured? How is that possible? That kind of terrifying energy, even Almighties would not be spared. How can he not be injured? Damn it, who can tell me what's going on? The atmosphere on the Sacred Palace's side was extremely solemn. The warriors who were watching from afar were all stunned. They did not expect that the tall, mysterious figure would be so terrifying. Even their combined attacks could not hurt him. Lin Xian's pupils shrank, as if he had been struck by lightning. Chapter 1634. In the crowd, Lin Xian's pupils shrank as he looked ahead, as if he had been struck by lightning. As he had used his martial Tao celestial eye, he could see everything clearly. After the energy wave, the black robe on the tall, mysterious man was torn apart, revealing the clothes underneath. It was a red robe that was as red as blood. On the red robe, there was a black lotus. It was so lifelike that it seemed to be real. A red robe with a black lotus. Wasn't this the man that his father had warned him to be careful of? Lin Xian was shocked. Lin Xian had almost forgotten about it, since he had been in the eastern wilderness for almost a year. Moreover, he had never met anyone with a red robe with a black lotus. Therefore, he did not take it to heart. But now he had met someone with a red robe with a black lotus. How could he not be shocked? Back then, his father had told him that the man with a black lotus was related to the person who had sealed his spiritual meridians. Especially that black lotus. Lin Xian would never forget it. It was a black lotus that had sealed his spiritual meridians and prevented him from cultivating. If it was not for the sword-shaped pendant, he would not have been able to cultivate. Therefore, Lin Xian hated the black lotus to the core. He did not expect to meet someone related to the black lotus here. How could he not be shocked? However, he did not act rashly, because the power that the other party had displayed was too terrifying. He could not defeat him at all. Power. I need great power. Lin Xian gritted his teeth as his eyes shone brightly, because his power was too weak now. Compared to an almighty, he was pitifully weak. He had to become an almighty as soon as possible, so that he could fight against the mysterious man in front of him. I have to become an almighty as soon as possible. Lin Xian took a deep breath as he set a goal for himself. Just as he was thinking about this, the situation in front of him changed again. When the surrounding people saw the tall figure, they exclaimed in surprise. The people from the sacred palace were even more shocked when they saw it, because the other party was too strange. How could he still stand after receiving such a powerful attack? The tall and mysterious man had blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. His eyes were even more ferocious. He was indeed injured, but it was not fatal. In the end, he had used his king's domain to resist that energy. However, at this moment, his ferocious nature seemed to have been stimulated. His eyes had also turned yellowish-brown, very similar to the two eyeballs on his demonic saber. Not only that, but his entire body also emitted a ferocious aura. Although we didn't manage to kill him, we were able to injure him. Let's join forces again. I don't believe that he won't die after a few more hits. On the divine temple's side, several experts gritted their teeth and roared. This was the only way to kill the other party. A cold voice came from the tall figure in front of him. You dare to injure me? All of you must die. He slowly raised his hand, and purple scales faintly appeared on his arm. Endless purple light gathered at the center of his palm, forming a dark purple ball of light that he threw out with a wave of his hand. Whong! The ball of light grew bigger with the wind, and instantly became 1,000 feet in size. It was like a purple mountain pressing down on the void. Not only that, but the dark purple ball of light was also spinning crazily, and there was a terrifying aura on it. At the same time, a strange black formation appeared under the purple ball of light. There were mysterious runes drawn on it, and it emitted an ancient aura. What is that? Everyone was stunned. Even the divine temple's side did not understand. However, in the next moment, they exclaimed in surprise. That was because the huge purple ball of light was spinning nonstop, forming a powerful suction force. In an instant, 3 kings from the divine temple's side were caught off guard and were sucked away by this force. They were sucked onto the purple ball of light, and as the purple ball of light rotated, they were mercilessly crushed. The purple ball of light and the black formation below it exerted force, forming a powerful force that instantly crushed the three kings into a bloody mist. Bang! Bang! Those 3 six-star kings didn't even have time to scream before they were killed. What? That's terrifying? The divine temple side had extremely ugly expressions. They realized that the purple ball of light was too terrifying. Not long after, one of the Almighties was sucked in and was immediately seriously injured. Fortunately, the middle-aged woman made a move and enveloped the Almighties with her green domain to heal them. That was the life domain, which could heal a martial artist's injuries and prevent the Almighties from dying. What? Even the Almighties were almost killed. Everyone was shocked and even wanted to escape. However, the Divine Temple's side was very angry. More experts flew out from the Divine Temple. Not long after, 2 more Almighties arrived. The 5 Almighties were ready to join forces to kill the tall, mysterious man. However, at that moment, a cold voice came from the void. Situ, stop fooling around. Completing the mission is more important. When the tall, mysterious man heard that voice, he immediately said coldly. Then he looked forward and said coldly, I'll let you guys go this time. After saying that, he turned around and was about to leave. Humph, where do you think you're going? The 5 Almighties behind saw that and roared angrily. They turned into 5 streaks of light and charged forward. At that moment, the cold snort came again. At the same time, the clouds in the sky rolled, forming an illusory eye that looked down. Buzz. As soon as the eye appeared, the 5 Almighties who were chasing after them trembled and stopped. They looked up at the mysterious pair of eyes with ugly expressions on their faces, because just now they felt as if they were being stared at by a peerless beast. In fact, all the hair on their bodies stood on end. This feeling was too uncomfortable. Ever since they became Almighties, they had not felt this way for a long time. It was as if that I could take their lives at any time. At this moment, everyone trembled under the gaze of this gigantic eye, because the supreme aura that was emitted was not something they could withstand at all. In the crowd, Lin Xian also exclaimed, Virtual Sky Eye. This huge eye reminded him of Zhao Shui's eye technique, the Virtual Sky Eye. However, he soon shook his head and rejected that idea. No, this is not the Virtual Sky Eye. It's an even more powerful eye technique. Damn it. What the hell is this? Lin Xian was shocked and also felt a sense of trepidation. Even the light of his martial Dao heavenly eye dimmed a little. Beside him, the Crimson Dragon was fine. As a dragon, he could withstand this supreme pressure. As for Fatty Luo and Du Fei, they also trembled with the crowd. This trembling came from their souls and was uncontrollable. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The great dragon sword soul in his body surged and formed the dragon sword realm, enveloping the Crimson Dragon, Fatty Luo, and Du Fei. His dragon sword realm was evolved from the great dragon sword. It was a holy technique and could completely isolate this supreme aura. Therefore, when the dragon sword realm appeared, Fatty Luo and Du Fei both heaved a sigh of relief. However, no one noticed that in the crowd, the young man named Hongyu, when he saw the illusory eye in the sky, his delicate little face became ferocious. Chapter 1635. F asterisk CK. That scared me to death. F asterisk CK. What kind of eye is that? How could it be so terrifying? Even the mighty figures are starting to tremble. Fatty Luo and Du Fei's hearts palpitated. The Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered. Damn it, it can't be the legendary eye, right? Even He Tu, who had been resting, was startled. What a powerful bloodline power. Could it really be the legendary eye? Lin Xian was about to ask what kind of eye it was when a long roar came. From the front, everyone, retreat. This long howl was filled with age. Clearly, this was the anger of a living fossil. Hearing this voice, the 5 mighty figures retreated decisively. That I was too much of a threat to them. Seeing the 5 of them retreat, one of the living fossil elders had a monstrous aura that dyed the entire sky red. In the next moment, he stretched out a huge palm that covered the sky and covered a radius of 1,000 miles as he grabbed downwards. With a loud bang, airwaves rolled, and all the warriors in the sealed space fell to the ground. Only Lin Xian and the others were spared because of the existence of the Dragon Sword Realm. This time, even the tall and mysterious man, who had always been arrogant, narrowed his eyes. Facing the huge hand that covered the sky, even he felt a sense of trepidation, as if he was on the verge of death. This was an attack from a living fossil. It was extremely terrifying and even surpassed that of a mighty figure. With a roar, the tall and mysterious man wanted to use all his strength to resist. However, at that moment, a young figure appeared beside him. It was the young man who was with him. That handsome young man was also wearing a red robe with a black lotus. As soon as he appeared, he pulled the tall figure and quickly retreated. Go. This is an order. When the tall middle-aged man heard this, he did not hesitate and left. The 2 of them fled into the distance. Humph, wanna run? You're overestimating yourselves. This area has already been sealed. You can't escape at all. Behind them, the warriors from the sacred temple sneered. Indeed, the entire space was sealed by the living fossil elder. Even mighty figures could not escape. No matter how powerful the 2 people in front were, they would not be able to break the seal. Moreover, there was a terrifying palm above them that was mercilessly descending. That palm strike was probably enough to kill a mighty figure. However, the 2 mysterious men did not hesitate at all. They continued to walk into the distance. Soon, the 2 of them arrived in front of the sealing barrier. It was a translucent wall of light with countless runes flickering on it. This was the seal formed by the living fossil elder. Every single rune contained an incomparably unique power. At this moment, they were all connected together and were incomparably powerful. It was like an impenetrable wall that could not be opened at all. However, at this moment, a white flame suddenly floated out of the mysterious eye in the sky. Without any sound, it landed on the barrier. Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, the barrier melted at a speed visible to the naked eye, forming a hole. Let's go! The handsome young man and the tall middle-aged man turned into lightning and instantly disappeared from where they were. What? The seal has been broken? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned, especially those from the sacred hall who could not believe their eyes. That was the seal formed by the combined efforts of the living fossil elders. How could it be broken by someone? It was too inconceivable. Even the living fossils had gloomy expressions, their gazes uncertain. Boom. In the sky, the huge hand that covered 1,000 miles ruthlessly smashed down, shattering the void. However, the 2 mysterious men had already disappeared. Damn it, Chase, we must catch them. Angry roars could be heard. Then, a few living fossils and the mighty figures quickly moved and chased into the distance. Because the missing stone was transported from the Primordium ancient mine, it was extremely mysterious and might contain rare treasures. Therefore, they could not lose it. The Sacred Hall martial artists rushed into the distance like a torrent of lightning. At the same time, the surrounding seal also disappeared. Hurry up and run. The trapped martial artists in the surroundings also screamed at this moment. One by one, they moved their bodies and fled in all directions. Because if they did not leave now, they would not be able to escape when they were sealed again. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. Let's go and take a look. To be honest, the two mysterious men were very attractive to him. He wanted to know who they were. What kind of organization did they belong to? He had to figure it out to find the mastermind behind this. All right, let's go and take a look. To be honest, Fatty Luo and Du Fei were also very confused. Therefore, they discussed and prepared to follow the sacred hall to take a look. However, they were stopped after flying for a few dozen miles. Kid, trying to run? Not so easy. A group of people appeared in all directions and surrounded Lin Xian and the others. Kid, how dare you offend the Tuoba family? You're dead. Humph, hand over the 10,000 lightning hammer. Or today will be the day you die. Cold laughter could be heard. It was so cold that it sent chills down one's spine. It turned out that the people who stopped Lin Xian were none other than the Tuoba family and the 10,000 lightning sect. The strongest few were Tuoba Yi, Tuoba Yulong, and the 10,000 lightning saint. However, the unfettered saint and the unfettered sect did not come. Among them, Tuoba Yi, Tuoba Yulong, and the 10,000 lightning saints' eyes burned with rage. They could not wait to chop Lin Xian into pieces to vent their anger. Who was I? So it's a bunch of losers. Why, you're not convinced? How dare you find trouble with us? Fatty Luo snorted in disdain. I advise you to scram. Otherwise, the consequences of offending us will be dire. Du Fei sneered. Cut the crap. If you don't hand over the 10,000 lightning hammer today, don't even think about leaving. The 10,000 lightning saints' face darkened. The 10,000 lightning hammer was his weapon and a treasure of the 10,000 lightning sect. He could not lose it. Otherwise, he would definitely become the laughingstock of the entire eastern wilderness. Tuoba Yulong's aged eyes shone with a terrifying light. The two of you are the descendants of the 10 villains, so we won't touch you. However, we won't let that Lin kid off. You have to pay the price for offending the Tuoba family. Hand over the 6 divine crystals and the earth-grade cultivation technique. Hand over your spirit-seeking art and eye technique, and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll make you regret being born into this world. Tuoba Ye's expression was hideous. As a prodigy of the Tuoba family, he was usually arrogant and looked down on everyone. However, he had suffered at the hands of Lin Xian time and time again. He could not accept this. Not only that, but Lin Xian's eye technique and spirit-seeking art made him extremely greedy. Therefore, no matter what, he had to get all the treasures in Lin Xian's hands today. Chapter 1636. To be honest, it wasn't just the Tuoba family and Myriad Thunder sect. There were countless figures in the surroundings. They were like ghosts, appearing and disappearing from time to time. It couldn't be helped. Lin Xian did have a great treasure. Not to mention the Myriad Thunder Hammer, just the 6 divine crystals and a peak earth tier cultivation technique were enough to make countless people jealous. If it weren't for the Tuoba family and Myriad Thunder sect, there would probably be other experts who would come to intercept them. Hurry up and scram. If you anger us, aren't you afraid of the 10 villains' revenge? Fatty Luo snorted. However, the Myriad Thunder Saint only grinned. Don't scare us. The 10 villains are powerful, but they aren't here. Moreover, we're just taking back what belongs to us. The 10 villains can't do anything about it. Tuoba Yulong also smiled. Don't worry, young masters. We won't hurt you. At that time, even the 10 villains wouldn't be able to say anything. As he spoke, he waved the dragon-headed cane in his hand. Immediately, the ground trembled as if there was an earthquake. In the next moment, the ground beneath Fatty Luo and Du Fei's feet cracked. 6 light pillars as thick as buckets surged from the ground. connecting the sky and directly enveloping Fatty Luo and Du Fei. You two young masters just stay inside and watch the battle. Tuoba Yulong's old voice sounded. The 6 light pillars flickered with incomparable light and contained a powerful aura, enveloping Fatty Luo and Du Fei. F***CK. Damn you old bastard. How dare you seal me? Fatty Luo was furious. He waved his hand and slapped forward. Immediately, a golden palm covered in countless runes slammed into the 6 rays of light. Boom! There was a loud explosion, and the world shook. However, the 6 pillars of light were completely intact. They had not been blasted apart. Damn it, what is this? Du Fei also clenched his teeth and waved the folding fan in his hand. Several silver light blades quickly slashed down. His cultivation wasn't low. Even a 4-star king would find it difficult to resist these silver light blades. However, at this moment, they only burst into countless sparks when they hit the 6 light pillars. They didn't break. Stop struggling, you two. This is our Tuoba family's unique spirit-seeking technique. You can't break it. Tuoba Yi had a complacent expression. This is borrowing the power of the Earth's spirit vein. It is impossible for you people to break it open. He was right. Seeker spirit masters were not only good at stone gambling, but they were also very good at fighting. That was because their spirit-seeking technique was able to find Earth's spirit veins and borrow their power to fight. That was how the 6 light pillars of spiritual energy were condensed. Even Lin Xian was surprised. He didn't expect the other party to have such a trick up his sleeve. Activating his martial Dao heavenly eye, he discovered that the 6 light pillars were indeed connected to an earth spirit vein. Not bad. Lin Xian nodded, his expression cold. If you want to kill me with just these methods, you're dreaming. I'll give you a chance. Get out of my sight. Or don't blame me for starting a massacre. Start a massacre? With just you? Tuoba Yi snorted in disdain. Junior, you're too arrogant. You don't have the right to say such words in front of me. Tuoba Yulong's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. The saint son of 10,000 thunder sneered. Reckless thing. Go to hell. He waved his hand, and countless lightning bolts surged out. At the same time, Tuoba Yulong waved his dragon-headed walking stick. Instantly, the earth trembled again. The ground beneath Lin Xian's feet cracked open, and multiple light pillars roared out like dragons. Ha ha, kid, die. Mopea Yi laughed maniacally. He seemed to be able to see Lin Xian being killed. Heavenly dragons, 8 steps. Lin Xian's figure flashed as he executed his extreme movement technique and instantly disappeared. Boom, boom. The sky full of divine lightning and huge spiritual energy light pillars all missed. What fast speed? Everyone was shocked. They didn't expect the other party to have such speed. On the other side, Lin Xian executed the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and directly disappeared, dodging 2 sharp attacks. Then he didn't stop. He turned into a beam of light and charged forward. Since both parties had become enemies, there was no need for him to hold back. In an instant, he appeared before Tuoba Yi. The Dragon Sword Realm was quickly executed and shrouded Tuoba Yi. Damn it, get lost. Tuoba Yi's face turned ugly. He didn't expect Lin Xian to target him the moment he appeared. With a furious roar, he waved both his palms and slammed towards Lin Xian. As a genius of the Tuoba family, he wasn't only a seeker spirit master, but his martial cultivation wasn't weak either. He was a 4-star king. At this moment, he waved both his palms and formed 2 jade palms that blasted forward. Mystic jade palms. This was an earth-tier mid-grade martial art that was extremely powerful. However, in front of Lin Xian's Dragon Sword Realm, it couldn't even retaliate. Resplendent sword chi flickered, and directly shattered the mystic jade palms. Tuoba screamed and quickly retracted his palms. His face was extremely distorted, because his palms had countless cuts and were dripping with blood. Some places even revealed white bones. In just a single move, he was severely injured. He couldn't believe it. At the same time, he was extremely terrified. Previously, he had already used his eye technique to check on Lin Xian. Lin Xian was only a 2-star king. Such a person wouldn't even be able to withstand a single blow from him. However, he didn't expect Lin Xian to have such terrifying combat strength despite his weak cultivation. That sharp sword Qi didn't even give him any chance to retaliate. Therefore, at the next moment, he retreated frantically and screamed, "Elder, save me!" Everything seemed slow, but it only happened in an instant. When Tuoba Yulong saw this scene, he was infuriated. Lin Xian actually dared to make a move on Tuoba Yi. He couldn't tolerate it. Therefore, with a furious roar, he quickly waved his dragon-headed walking stick. With a flash of light, that walking stick seemed to have come alive and turned into a yellow dragon that surged forward rapidly. He wanted to save Tuoba Yi. However, Lin Xian snorted and waved his palm. The dragon sword realm instantly enveloped Tuoba Yi. The sky was filled with sharp sword qi as it slashed down mercilessly. PFFF. PFFF. Tuoba Yi's body was instantly penetrated by countless sword qi. The defense on the surface of his body was completely useless. Fresh blood spurted out as Tuoba Yi collapsed rapidly with endless unwillingness and fear. Until this moment, he still didn't believe that Lin Xian could kill him so easily. "Ah, kid, I want you dead." Seeing Tuoba Yi killed, Tuoba Yulong roared crazily and looked extremely malevolent, because Tuoba Yi was a genius of the Tuoba family's younger generation. Not only was his cultivation high, but his spirit-seeking technique was also exceptional. He was highly valued among the younger generation. This time, he even followed Tuoba Yulong to participate in the Sacred Hall's stone gambling convention. However, he didn't expect that he would be killed here. This made him unable to answer to his family. Chapter 1637. At this moment, Tuoba Yulong had gone completely crazy. His white hair fluttered rapidly, and he looked like a demon. As he waved his walking stick, the ground cracked rapidly. One after another, earth spirit veins gushed out from the ground, turning into swords and knives that slashed at Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps to dodge. Quickly, coiling snake stick, Tuoba Yulong attacked crazily. The dragon head walking stick in his hand turned into a ferocious python that instantly covered the void. It bit at Lin Xian. This dragon head walking stick was not simple. It was an earth-grade treasure. At this moment, its energy was extremely terrifying. In an instant, the ferocious dragon snake head locked onto Lin Xian. "Die, brat." The whole void shook violently as the staff swept down. Even a 5-star king wouldn't be able to withstand the shocking energy. Lin Xian let out a cold snort as his eyes lit up. Myriad sword art, 9,000 sword power. With a low bellow, the dragon sword domain rotated rapidly. 9,000 sharp sword beams quickly combined to form a gigantic heavenly sword that slashed forward ruthlessly. Lin Xian's myriad sword art had already reached greater mastery. When he used it now, it was terrifying to the extreme. Boom! The 9,000 sword power formed a giant sword that was incomparably terrifying. It directly blasted the dragon head, walking stick back. Boom! Boom! Tuoba Yulong took 3 steps back, creating a large crack in the void. At the same time, his face was full of shock. Damn it, how is this possible? He was too shocked. His attack was enough to kill a 5-star king. However, not only was the other party fine, but he was also blasted back. He couldn't believe that a 2-star king could have such powerful combat strength. At the same time, the myriad Thunder Saint's expression was also solemn. He was also extremely shocked. Therefore, in the next moment, he pushed his combat strength to the limit and quickly attacked. A huge lightning domain instantly formed, covering a radius of dozens of miles. Lightning rolled in the sky, and the myriad Thunder Saint stood in the void like a thunder god. In the next moment, he attacked ruthlessly. Hand of the thunder god. The domain of thunder and lightning above churned as countless bolts of lightning surged, forming a giant hand of thunder and lightning that connected heaven and earth. With shocking power, it slammed downwards. Boom! That giant lightning hand was several hundred feet long. It stretched out from the thunder clouds in the sky, as if it was the real hand of the heavens. How terrifying! Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists were shocked and swallowed their saliva. This should be the ultimate technique of the 10,000 Thunder Sect, the hand of the thunder god. It's hard to imagine that the 10,000 Thunder Saint son has cultivated it to such a level. It's over. I'm afraid that Lin Kid won't be able to fight back. What a pity! 6 divine gems and a top Earth-class cultivation technique are going to fall into the hands of the 10,000 Thunder Saint. Everyone shook their heads and sighed, thinking that Lin Xian was doomed. As for Lin Xian, he supported the Dragon Sword domain. His expression was incomparably cold, and his body was surrounded by sword chi. The Dragon Sword domain collided with the Lightning domain, producing a sound like that of a tsunami. Endless cracks appeared in the void. At the same time, Lin Xian performed the first level of the 6-God sword technique. Suddenly, the Dragon Sword domain was surrounded by countless red sword chi, and at the same time, an illusory sword god shadow faintly appeared. The sword god shadow sat, cross-legged in the void like an ancient sword god, and its terrifying aura suppressed all directions. Kill! Lin Xian raised the 9 Hell Demon sword and roared. Immediately, the sword god's image filled the sky with red sword light as it charged upwards. Crack! With a loud sound, the 10,000 Thunder Saint sons, hand of the thunder god, was attacked by the sword chi, and countless cracks appeared. Then it exploded and scattered in all directions. What? The thunder god's hand is broken? How is that possible? The surrounding people exclaimed in disbelief. The 10,000 Thunder Saint son was even more shocked. His thunder god's hand was extremely terrifying. How could his opponent resist it? However, he didn't have time to think. The next moment, all the hair on his body stood on end. He turned into a bolt of lightning and instantly retreated to the side. That was because the red sword god's phantom was charging towards him at high speed. That fierce aura made him feel like he was on the verge of death. Buzz! A red sword light was emitted from the sword god's shadow and instantly slashed forward. The 10,000 Thunder Holy Sun dodged the sword by force. However, the aftermath of the sword, chi made him feel pain all over, and his body almost split open. After missing the attack, the red sword god's shadow quickly dimmed. Then it returned to Lin Xian's dragon sword realm and sat down cross-legged. Lin Xian didn't waste time with his opponent. He had already sent a voice transmission to the Crimson Dragon, asking him to help Du Fei and Fatty Luo crack the 6 spiritual chi light pillars. Now, they had successfully cracked it. Let's go! Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly came to their side. The dragon sword realm roared and turned into a flying dragon, carrying everyone and rushing into the distance. He didn't want to stay here for too long, because he had many treasures with him. Even if he killed Tuoba Yulong and the 10,000 Thunder Saint son, more people would come. Therefore, he had to leave quickly. Under the extreme speed of the heavenly dragon's 8 steps, Lin Xian and the others were extremely fast. In an instant, they disappeared into the horizon. Trying to run? Damn it, chase after him. Tuoba Yulong and the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun roared. Both of them had suffered a great loss. How could they let Lin Xian go? After hearing that, the martial artists around them moved as well. They followed behind Tuoba Yulong and the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun, turning into streaks of shocking light that chased forward. The martial artists hidden in the surroundings also followed silently, because the treasures this time were too abundant. Whether it was the 10,000 Thunderhammer, the 10,000 Beast Ding in Lin Xian's hands, the 6 Divine Nerves, or a top-tier Earth-grade cultivation technique, any one of them would make countless people jealous. Now, all of these things were in Lin Xian's hands. How could they not go crazy? No one gave up. They all chased after him. Of course, they all followed unhurriedly, because they wanted the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun and the others to fight with Lin Xian. When both sides were injured, they would appear and reap the benefits. However, half a day later, everyone's expression was extremely ugly, because they had lost track of him. Not only the hidden martial artists behind them, but even the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun and Tuoba Yulong had a ferocious expression. The other party's speed was too fast. They couldn't keep up at all. Even if the 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun had the speed of lightning, he was still a little slower. Damn it! Everyone gritted their teeth. Investigate. We must find out that kid's identity. The 10,000 Thunder Saint Sun gritted his teeth. He must take back the 10,000 Thunderhammer. Not only that, he also wanted to kill the other party and snatch the treasures on him. Tuoba Yulong had the same idea. Therefore, he also asked the people of the Tuoba family to hurry up and find out about the other party. Moreover, he also spread the word that if anyone could provide information about the other party or help him catch the other party, he would give the person a strange stone for free. When these words came out, everyone was in an uproar. Tuoba Yulong was an extremely powerful seeker. Although he lost to Lin Xian last time, no one doubted his strength. Unexpectedly, in order to catch Lin Xian this time, he actually agreed to give away a strange stone. This was absolutely shocking news. Therefore, for a time, many people were inquiring about Lin Xian. Chapter 1638. The 10,000 Thunder Saint gave the order to track down Lin Xian with all their might. On the other side, Lin Xian used the Heavenly Dragon's 8 steps and flew quickly with Fatty Luo and the others. A day later, they were finally far away from the sacred palace. Lin Xian's speed also came to a halt. F***CK. Damn the 10,000 Thunder Saint. And the Tuoba family. I'll remember this. I'll never let them off the hook. Fatty Luo gritted his teeth. As the descendants of the 10 great villains, no one dared to attack them. But this time, that Tuoba Yulong dared to attack them? How abominable. Yes, we must avenge them. Du Fei snorted. Lin Xian shook his head slightly. No hurry. We'll have plenty of chances in the future. I might have to return to the sect now. Brother Lin, are you going back? Fatty Luo and Du Fei were reluctant to part with him. Yes, the sect's mission is completed, and the deadline is almost up. We must hurry back. They chatted for a while. Then Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon said goodbye to Fatty Luo and Du Fei and set off again. Indeed, Danzong had given them a deadline of 1 month. Now that they were almost there, Lin Xian had to go back. Otherwise, he would arouse the sect's suspicion. 2 days later, he arrived at the place where he had landed and waited for the gate to open. Sure enough, Danzong's teleportation array appeared in the sky again at the specified time. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he entered the gate with the Crimson Dragon. When he came out again, he was already back in Danzong. Lin Xian smiled as he operated the longevity incantation to stabilize the spiritual power in his body. He was now very far away from the sacred palace. Even if a king could fly, it would take him a few years. Therefore, it was impossible for the 10,000 Thunder Saint and the others to find him. Moreover, what made him even happier was that the harvest this time was simply too bountiful. 6 divine gems and a top Earth rank technique. This was definitely a sky-high price. If anyone knew about this, they would go crazy with envy. Lin Xian was also very careful. He returned to the sect and quickly handed in the mission. Then he returned to his mountain and went into seclusion. Raising his hand to set up a seal, Lin Xian gave 2 divine gems to the Crimson Dragon and kept the other 4 for his own cultivation. This divine crystal was worthy of being called a rare treasure. Lin Xian was overjoyed by its abundant energy. 4 nerves had allowed his cultivation base to reach the late stage of 2-star King Realm. 1,000 Dragon Realm's realm was strengthened again. Slowly, 1,000 divine gems and divine gems realm ranked divine Ge. This time, it took him half a month to absorb the divine crystals. This improvement. Lin Xian was very satisfied with his current state. With a flip of his palm, he took out the Earth-class martial art. Tian, Heaven, Martials Divine, Martial Gems, Martial Art, Divine Martial. Fist of the 1,000 Tian Fist. Its power surpassed any of Lin Xian's martial arts techniques. However, although this technique was powerful, it also had high requirements for the cultivator. First of all, to use this fist technique, one had to have an extremely strong physique. Otherwise, one would not be able to withstand the power of this fist technique. Moreover, the cultivator also needed to have a trace of the Dragon Clan's bloodline to be able to fully use the fist of the 1,000 Tian sect. It could be said that these requirements were very harsh and difficult for ordinary people to meet, especially the second requirement. Lin Xian snorted coldly when he saw it. No one of the other party was so willing to give him a top-ranked technique, because in the eyes of ordinary people, it was impossible to cultivate. If one had a strong physique, they could achieve it. If one wanted to use the Dragon Clan's bloodline, they would have to do it with someone like the Crimson Dragon who was part of the Dragon Clan, or someone related to the Dragon Clan. The other possibility was to slay a dragon and obtain its bloodline power. However, this situation was even rarer. Therefore, this fist of the 1,000 Tian sect could only be watched and could not be cultivated. However, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. Others could not cultivate it, but he could. He had the great dragon sword soul in his body, which was a very special dragon soul. Therefore, Lin Xian's current state was equivalent to a dragon. However, it was not a real dragon clan. However, to cultivate this fist of the 1,000 Tian sect, it was indeed enough. This fist of the 1,000 Tian sect was very fierce and abnormally fierce. It was very difficult to cultivate. This set of fist techniques also contained 5 killer moves. It could be said that its power was extremely great. The more Lin Xian looked at it, the more delighted he became. If he used the fist of the 1,000 Tian sect, coupled with his dragon sword realm, he would definitely be able to unleash a terrifying combat strength. Therefore, in the following days, Lin Xian was completely immersed in cultivating the fist of the 1,000 Tian sect. Time passed quickly. During this period, the sect sent a blue wave pill. Other than that, Lin Xian had been in seclusion. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Lin Xian was now at the entry level of the fist of the 1,000 Tian sect. From this point, it could be seen how difficult it was to cultivate the fist of the 1,000 Tian sect. This was because in the past, Lin Xian could almost cultivate a middle-grade earth-tier martial art to the small success stage in a month's time. Now, he was only at the entry level. As expected of a top-grade Earth-tier martial art, Lin Xian also exclaimed. However, even at the entry level, its power was extremely terrifying. It had even surpassed a middle-grade Earth-tier martial art at the large success stage. However, he did not continue to cultivate it. This was because the entire Danzong had suddenly heard a low bell sound. It was obvious that something big had happened. Clang! The melodious bell sound slowly resounded throughout the entire Danzong. Lin Xian stood up and withdrew the surrounding defensive array. Then his figure flashed and flew into the distance. Along the way, he saw many core disciples who also flew into the sky. It was obvious that these people had received the news. Lin Xian, at this moment, a voice suddenly called out from behind. Lin Xian turned around and saw a beautiful figure rushing toward him at high speed. Chu Yu, Lin Xian smiled. You're here too. Of course, how can I not come for such a big matter? Chu Yu smiled. Do you know, this is a good opportunity for us? Good opportunity? What opportunity? Lin Xian was puzzled. You don't know? Chu Yu was surprised. What do you usually do? I've been in seclusion these days. Why? Something big happened in the sect? Lin Xian scratched his head and asked with a smile. It's indeed something big, but it's not just Danzong, Chu Yu said. Do you know that in a while, it will be the day of the Holy Land selection? As a subsidiary sect of the Yaowang Holy Land, our Danzong has a chance to participate in the selection every 10 years. This time, it's our turn. In other words, among us core disciples, there might be a carp that can jump the Dragon Gate and directly enter the Yaowang Holy Land. Chapter 1639. Chu Yu smiled and said, maybe some of these core disciples will be able to enter the Yaowang's sacred ground. What? The sacred ground sect selection. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard that. He didn't expect such a thing to happen. Then he understood from Chu Yu's explanation. The sacred ground sect selection was held once every 10 years. It was a competition between the 3 subsidiary sects of the Yaowang sacred ground. In the end, the top 3 would have a chance to enter the Yaowang sacred ground. This was undoubtedly a great opportunity for the Danzong and Danzong disciples. The sacred ground was the top force in the eastern wilderness. It was an overlord that was on par with the remote antiquity families. Every disciple of the sacred ground was an extremely outstanding genius. Their strength was terrifying and unimaginable. Moreover, the sacred ground had a very rich foundation. If one could enter the sacred ground to cultivate, it would definitely be a great opportunity. Lin Xian and Chu Yu chatted as they flew quickly. Soon, the two arrived at the Danzong Square. At this moment, many people had gathered there. These were all core disciples. Only core disciples were qualified to participate in the sacred ground selection. Lin Xian roughly looked and found that there were about 300 core disciples. Each of them was outstanding and had a powerful aura. At this moment, these people had excited expressions on their faces. This was because they knew that this time there was a high possibility that someone among them would break through and become a sacred ground disciple. That would be an unparalleled honor and a great opportunity. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Xian and Chu Yu's landing immediately attracted a lot of attention. Of course, most of them were looking at Chu Yu. It couldn't be helped. She was a direct disciple and had a high status. Among the core disciples, she was also a top existence. Such a person would definitely be an extremely strong opponent in the sacred ground selection. Therefore, these core disciples paid special attention to her. As for Lin Xian, they only glanced at him and then stopped paying attention. This was because they found that he was only a late-stage 2-star king. This kind of cultivation was too weak. They didn't even understand how he became a core disciple. Such a person was nothing more than cannon fodder in the Holy Land selections. Therefore, they would not waste their energy to pay too much attention to it. Lin Xian shook his head slightly at the disdainful gazes around him. These people simply did not know what was called jumping ranks to battle. After Lin Xian and Chu Yu arrived, more and more core disciples arrived. The entire square was filled with martial artists, their powerful auras connecting heaven and earth. Not long after, the door to the main hall opened. A group of elders walked out from within. The person at the front was an old man in a red robe. He was the sect master of Danzong, Dan Chenzi. Lin Xian was slightly surprised to see him. He hadn't expected Dan Chenzi to appear at a time like this. It seemed like he had underestimated the importance of the Holy Land selections. At the side, all the core disciples bowed to the front. "Greetings, sect master. No need to be so polite." Dan Chenzi smiled and said, "I'm sure you know why I've gathered you here." "That's right. I've gathered all of you here for the Holy Land selection." As expected, after receiving the sect master's affirmation, the surrounding core disciples were all excited. They had no choice. Among these core disciples, the younger ones were in their 20s, while the older ones were already 100 years old. However, they were all kings. Therefore, in terms of appearance, the core disciples who were 100 or 200 years old looked like they were in their 30s. However, they had been waiting for this day for a long time. In front of them, Dan Chenzi said slowly, "The Holy Land selection this time is no different from the previous ones. It's also divided into 3 stages. An elder will lead you to the first 2 stages. As for me, I'll be waiting for your return at the 3rd stage. At that time, not only me but the experts of the Yaoguang Holy Land will also be there. I hope you'll perform well and strive to enter the Yaoguang Holy Land." "Yes, we'll do our best to enter the Holy Land." The group of core disciples was excited. Lin Xian was slightly confused because he didn't know what the 3 stages were, but thinking about it, it wouldn't take long for him to find out. Therefore, he wasn't in a hurry. Some of the surrounding core disciples were already discussing among themselves. "With my cultivation, the 1st stage isn't a problem at all. The 2nd stage is fine too. But the 3rd stage is a bit difficult. Yeah, I wonder what kind of outstanding geniuses will appear in the other 2 sects this time. Our Danzong will be led by the 10 direct disciples." These people were discussing animatedly. It was obvious that they were participating in the selection. Lin Xian perked up his ears and listened for a while. He had a rough understanding of the situation. The Yaoguang Holy Land had 3 main sections. They were the Danzong, the Lingshu, and the Purple Sun sect. These 3 sects were about the same in strength, but the Purple Sun sect was the strongest. The other 2 sects also had more than 300 core disciples. Moreover, the 3 sects were led by the 10 direct disciples, forming the strongest echelon. And every time, the top 3 would always emerge from these personal disciples. Among these direct disciples, there were 3 senior direct disciples. They were the Danzong, Dan Feng, the Lingshu sect, Xiao Cheng, the Purple Sun sect, Ding Peng. These 3 people were powerful and unfathomable. It was rumored that they could already stand shoulder to shoulder with the disciples of the peerless Holy Land and the clan of the Ancients. It could be said that they were the hot favorites in this competition. Lin Xian listened from the side and secretly memorized these people. On the other side, after Dan Chenzi finished speaking, another sect elder walked out and gave some things to the core disciples. Among them, there was a jade scroll and a few pills. The jade scroll recorded the basic content of the selection. As for the pills, they were probably recovery or healing pills prepared for them. At this moment, Dan Chenzi chuckled and said again, "Now, you've received the pills. There's a purple pill among them. Swallow it now, and I'll help you increase your strength." Hearing this, everyone was shocked, then ecstatic. Soon, everyone swallowed the purple medicinal pellets that they had obtained in their hands. Lin Xian frowned slightly. He knew that Dan Chenzi wasn't a good person. He probably didn't have good intentions when he asked them to take the pill. However, with so many people taking the pill, he would definitely attract attention if he didn't take it. Therefore, he could only take the purple pill and quickly use the longevity incantation. He hoped that the longevity incantation could reverse the flow and discover the difference in the pill. As expected, after swallowing the pill, the longevity incantation in Lin Xian's body reversed the flow. This meant that there was definitely something wrong with the pill. Lin Xian gathered the medicinal power of the purple pill and didn't expel it immediately. However, he didn't absorb it either. Chapter 1640. Lin Xian gathered the medicinal power of the purple pill and did not expel it immediately. However, he did not absorb it. When Dan Chenzi saw that all the core disciples had taken the purple pills, he nodded in satisfaction. All right, go back and prepare. Gather here in 3 days. An elder will take you there. Yes, we'll take our leave. All the core disciples bowed again. Then they rose into the air and returned to their mountains. Lin Xian bid farewell to Chuyu and left as well. After returning to the mountain, Lin Xian raised his hand and set up a defensive array to prevent others from probing. Then he opened his mouth and spat out the purple pill. Damn, there's something wrong. The Crimson Dragon also jumped out and frowned. Kid, are you still going to participate in the Sacred Land tryouts? I think Danzong is very strange. I'm afraid he's plotting something. Lin Xian's expression turned serious. Of course I'm going to participate. If I withdraw now, I'm afraid Danzong will hunt me down. Moreover, I think Danzong's secret will be exposed during the Sacred Land tryouts. I'm going to see what Dan Chenzi is plotting then. 3 days later, Lin Xian and the others arrived at Danzong Square again. This time, 3 elders and more than 10 deacons were leading the group. One of the 3 elders had a very powerful aura. Lin Xian estimated that he was at the almighty level. The Danzong Almighty waved his hand, and a huge spirit boat rose into the air. Then Lin Xian and the other core disciples boarded the spirit boat and flew into the distance. The spirit boat was as fast as lightning. Even so, it took 10 days to reach its destination. The serene moon forest was vast. It was surrounded by mountains. The huge spirit boat was descending toward one of the valleys. The valley was huge. From the sky, it looked like a crescent moon. When they got closer, they realized that there were many people in the valley. The landing of Danzong's spirit boat naturally attracted attention. Very quickly, a red light flew over from the half-moon valley. So it's a fellow Taoist from Danzong. A laugh rang out. The newcomer was a middle-aged man in a red robe. His aura was powerful. He had reached the level of a 6-star king. So it's fellow Taoist Han. The alchemy sect's almighty also smiled. Then the other 2 elders and a dozen deacons beside him also quickly greeted the red-robed, middle-aged man. Looking at these people, there was a trace of respect and fear. Although the other party is only a 6-star king, our Danzong, and the other 2 sects don't dare to behave atrociously here. Chuyu said via voice transmission, He, can you guess why? Lin Xian thought for a moment and said, Could it be that the other party is from the Yaoguang Holy Land? That's right. The other party is from the Yaoguang Holy Land. Even the Almighty of Danzong wouldn't dare to be rude to them. Hearing this, Lin Xian took a deep breath. He had seen the power of an almighty before. Such a person could be said to be an overlord in the eastern wilderness. However, a 6-star king from the Yaoguang Holy Land could make an almighty feel fear. One had to admit that the Holy Land's strength was too terrifying. In front, the elders and the red-robed, middle-aged man discussed for a while. Then, the Danzong Almighty turned around and said, "We're going to discuss the competition. You can go down by yourselves. Communicate with the other sect's senior and junior brothers." Yes, everyone agreed. Then, one by one, they rose into the air and flew down. The Half-Moon Valley had beautiful scenery and abundant spirit chi. It was a good place to rest. At this moment, the arrival of Lin Xian and the other Danzong disciples naturally attracted the attention of the Purple Sun sect and the Lingshu sect. Among them, the 10 core disciples of the Danzong sect stood at the front. They landed forcefully, bringing with them countless gusts of wind. It's the Danzong people. In the valley, the people from the other 2 sects also narrowed their eyes. Their expressions were solemn. They had no choice. This time, they were not here to sightsee. It was a very intense competition. It could be said that each person was a potential opponent. Danfeng, how have you been?" At this moment, an extremely handsome young man in white walked out and chuckled as he looked ahead. Although his body did not emit any light, he had an aura that made everyone feel uncomfortable. Xiao Cheng. Danfeng was a very beautiful woman. She wore a 5-colored robe, and her beautiful face was solemn. His long and narrow eyes were shining with a bright light. At the same time, a fiery red shadow spread out from her body. It overlapped like a phoenix. It carried a scorching aura. Suddenly, the aura of the entire valley increased by a lot. So powerful. The surrounding disciples were shocked. Their expressions were extremely solemn. The white-robed young man smiled and said, "It seems that your fire phoenix technique has made another breakthrough. You're not bad either. I'm afraid you've already cultivated to the 6th level." Danfeng's voice was cold, but exceptionally pleasant. "I'm nothing. I'm afraid that Dingpeng is even more powerful. I heard that his Purple Sun Divine technique has already broken through to the 7th level." The 7th level? Even Dan Feng frowned when she heard this. What a troublesome guy. It's my honor to be praised by Fairy Danfeng. Another laughter was heard. Then a figure appeared in front of everyone. It was a young man in a purple robe with a devilish smile on his face. There was a purple aura floating on his body. It was very mysterious. Dingpeng. On the Danzong side, there was also a burst of exclamations. Everyone was as if they were facing a great enemy. Dingpeng, the first direct disciple of the Purple Sun sect. His strength was extremely terrifying. Probably no one in the entire valley was his match. The only ones who could fight against him were their senior sister Danfeng, and the first direct disciple of the Spirit Void sect, Xiao Cheng. In the distance, Lin Xian also narrowed his eyes and kept sizing up the 3 of them. These 3 should be the top geniuses of the 3 major sections. Not bad. They're indeed very strong. However, compared to the 1000th Thunder Sage, they seem to be a little lacking. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he kept comparing in his heart. How about it? Do you want to spar? Dingpeng stood in the void and asked indifferently. Forget it, there's no need to spar. When it comes to the 3rd stage, a battle will do. Danfeng shook her head slightly. Then her figure swayed and she came to the valley. I won't fight you either. On the other side, Xiao Cheng of the Spirit Void sect also laughed. Recently, I've been cultivating a unique skill. I'll have a breakthrough in the next 2 days. When the time comes, I'll definitely give you an unexpected surprise. As he said that, his body and mind swayed and he landed below. No matter what you cultivate, you're no match for me. Dingpeng shook his head slightly. Chapter 1641. Next, everyone rested in this valley, waiting for the upcoming 1st stage. Through the jade slip, Lin Xian already knew the content of the first stage. It was a team competition. Everyone would form different teams and enter the hidden moon forest together. Each small team could only have a maximum of 3 people. At the very least, they could act alone. Under normal circumstances, no one would act alone because it was easy to be eliminated in this situation. Of course, there were exceptions. For example, Dan Feng and Ding Peng probably disdained to form a team with others. As for the others, they would probably form a 3-person team. At the very least, it would be a 2-person team. Every team would be given half a jade pendant, and what these teams had to do was to snatch other people's jade pendants in the forest and form a complete jade pendant. Only by forming a complete jade pendant within the stipulated time and handing it over to the designated location would they be considered to have passed. This was the content of the first stage. It looked very simple, but there were some hidden traps in it. One of them was that other than the team itself, no one knew which half of the jade pendant the other teams had obtained. This required the martial artist to find out by himself. Moreover, the more important point was that this first stage was very easy to eliminate people, because there would be experts who would carry out a thorough cleaning inside. Those people were powerful and had completed a complete jade pendant, but they would not stop. Instead, they would attack others crazily and eliminate them. It could be said that it was very cruel. Next, it was to form a team. Basically, it was a combination of disciples from each sect. There were very few combinations between sections. Lin Xian, let's form a team. At this moment, Chuyu walked over with a smile. However, before Lin Xian could say anything, a few handsome young men walked towards Chuyu and said with a smile, "Junior Sister Chu, let's go together." "Yes, Junior Sister, we can protect you." "Kid, you can leave. There's nothing for you here." A few people looked coldly at Lin Xian, and the surrounding martial artists also whispered and could not help but pull away, because those who dared to form a team with Chu Yu were definitely personal disciples. Ordinary core disciples had no chance at all, and this kind of personal disciple, ordinary people did not dare to provoke at all. "Senior brothers, don't say that. Junior brother Lin is very powerful." Chu Yu quickly mediate. Powerful. After the 2 personal disciples heard this, a trace of disdain appeared at the corners of their mouths. How powerful could a late-stage 2-star king realm be? Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. However, he did not make a move. Instead, he said to Chuyu, "You can team up with them. I have other choices." With that, Lin Xian turned around and left. He did want to team up with Chuyu because he only knew Chuyu in all of Danzong, but now he would choose to act alone because being alone was more suitable for him. Seeing Lin Xian leave, Chuyu also sighed. However, this was also good. This way, it would prevent Lin Xian from having a conflict with his personal disciple. She knew that the personal disciples beside her possessed extremely terrifying strength. If Lin Xian was here, the 2 sides would definitely clash, and the one who would suffer would be Lin Xian. This was not the result that Chuyu wanted to see. "All right, senior brothers, let's form a team." Chuyu sighed. At the same time, the others also quickly formed teams. Most of them were 3-person teams, but there were also some 2-person teams. At this moment, Lin Xian seemed very strange. This was because there were no other disciples beside him. He was alone. This kind of solo action immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding cultivators. Many disciples even revealed disdainful sneers. With his strength, he wants to act alone. He really doesn't know how to write the word death. He's just cannon fodder if he goes in. Ignore him. The disciples sneered, not putting Lin Xian in their eyes at all. Lin Xian's expression was calm, because he was very confident in himself. Apart from Lin Xian, there was another person on Danzong's side who was acting alone. That was the eldest personal disciple, Dan Feng. She also did not find anyone to team up with. As for Xiao Cheng of the Lingshu sect and Ding Peng of the Purple Sun, they were both acting alone. Soon, each team began to step forward to receive half a jade pendant. Lin Xian also received half a jade pendant. It was palm-sized and had exquisite inscriptions carved on it. He held the jade pendant in his hand and narrowed his eyes. This was because from the moment he received the jade pendant, there were countless malicious gazes around him. It was obvious that these people were targeting him. Suddenly, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. If these people did not open their eyes, he did not mind sending them out. However, the first round of the competition was still considered fair. These people did not directly enter the Hidden Moon Forest. Instead, they were randomly transported by a huge teleportation array. This way, they could avoid the fate of being stared at from the beginning. All the disciples stood on the huge array, and light flickered under their feet. In front, the red-robed middle-aged man from the Yaowang sacred ground said loudly, "The time for the first round is a total of 7 days. In these 7 days, not only do you have to successfully seize someone else's token, but also form a complete pair of jade pendants. Moreover, you have to send the jade pendants to that mountain at the stipulated time on the 7th day." As he spoke, he pointed to the distance. In the vast forest, there was a very tall mountain. It was like a heavenly pillar, thousands of feet tall, and very eye-catching. Thinking about it, that was the final location. All right, you have already understood the rules. Now, the first round of the test begins. With the command, the entire valley lit up with the light of the array. Then, all the disciples were transported to the Hidden Moon Forest. The light dimmed, and Lin Xian appeared in the Hidden Moon Forest. Long life secret activated. And soon the dizziness caused by the teleportation disappeared. Then he began to look around. Around him was a primeval forest with lush vegetation, and there were many demonic beasts around. In other words, besides being careful of other martial artists, he also had to be careful of demonic beasts. Through the dense forest, Lin Xian discovered that there was a blurry silhouette of a mountain in the distance. That was the final location. It seemed that he had to collect the entire jade pendant before he could do anything else. Lin Xian looked at the half-jade pendant in his hand and was ready to set off. Roar! At this moment, a green cheetah suddenly jumped out from the tree. It was only 2 meters long. It did not look big, but the power on its body was terrifying. The monstrous, murderous aura caused the entire void to distort. It waved its claws and easily tore through the void. It turned out to be a demon king, and it was very powerful. Humph! Lin Xian snorted and punched out. On the fist there was a cold black dragon aura. Boom! A low sound rang out, and a gale swept in all directions, cutting the surrounding trees in half. As for the Monster King, it let out a miserable cry and was sent flying. Chapter 1642. Its aura was chaotic, and its eyes were no longer ferocious. Instead, they were filled with shock, because it did not expect the human in front of it to be so terrifying that he could severely injure it with a single punch. Therefore, it did not dare to stay. The demonic aura on its body condensed and formed 2 pairs of huge wings. It spread its wings and was about to escape into the distance. Lin Xian's eyes flickered, and he punched out again. Boundless black gas turned into a ferocious dragon head and instantly enveloped the Demon King. Puff! Under this terrifying fist shadow, the Cyan Demon King's body split open. At the same time, a sparkling and translucent demon core fell to the ground. Lin Xian waved his hand and threw it into the black earth. According to the rules of the competition, other than the contestants themselves, they were not allowed to use pets. Therefore, the Crimson Dragon and the Snow White Monkey were left in the black earth. The entire black earth was formed into a black pendant by He-Tu and hung on Lin Xian's body. The Demon King's demon core contained powerful energy, but Lin Xian could not absorb it. On the other hand, the Crimson Dragon could absorb the energy inside, so Lin Xian gave it all to him. Hidden Moon Forest was very big and vast. Therefore, Lin Xian walked for half a day and did not encounter any other martial artists. However, not long after, the sound of something breaking through the air came from behind, and there were even a few figures flashing. Soon, 3 figures appeared in the void and surrounded Lin Xian. Ha ha ha, my luck is really too good. I actually encountered an idiot acting alone. He's only a late-stage 2-star king. How pitifully weak. Behind him, light flickered, and 3 figures descended and surrounded Lin Xian. At this moment, they were laughing wildly, because with the cultivation of a 2-star king, one of them could take on a large group of them. They did not expect that with such a cultivation, how could he become a core disciple? Moreover, he did not team up with others and actually dared to act alone. He was really reckless. Kid, I'll give you a chance. Obediently hand over the jade pendant, and I can spare your life. Among the 3 of them, a muscular man said coldly. These 3 people were all 4-star kings, and their auras were extremely powerful. At this moment, the 3 of them joined forces and formed a special domain that surrounded Lin Xian. The way they saw it, the other party would definitely kneel on the ground in fear and obediently hand over the jade pendant in his hand. However, Lin Xian's answer stunned them. They couldn't believe their ears. Very good. I was still worried about how to find other people. I didn't expect you to deliver yourselves to me. In that case, hand over the jade pendants in your hands, and I can spare your lives. Lin Xian glanced at the 3 of them and said indifferently, "What?" The 3 of them were stunned, unable to believe what they had just heard. The other party dared to rob them? Soon, they were amused by Lin Xian's actions. Good, good, good. Kid, I didn't expect you to be such an idiot. How dare you target the 3 of us? I can't, this is too funny. A 2-star king dares to say such a thing? You really don't know what death is. Brat, you've made me very angry. Now, even if you obediently hand over the jade pendant, I won't let you off easily. The muscular man's voice was also cold. Lin Xian shook his head slightly and sighed. Why are there so many self-righteous people in the world? Since you're so stubborn, then don't blame me. You're courting death. The 3 of them flew into a rage after hearing this. Among them, the muscular man roared angrily and threw out a punch. The other party dared to look down on them. How abominable! The 3 of them were the core disciples of the Purple Sun sect, and they were all 4-star kings. If they joined forces, they would be a powerful force. The other party was only a 2-star king, and he was alone. How dare he look down on them? They would let the other party know the consequences of looking down on them. The muscular man threw out a punch, and the terrifying power caused the entire void to tremble. His arm was like a flood dragon, filled with explosive power. Boom! The void exploded when he threw out a punch. Ha ha! Kid, die. Following the punch was a ferocious smile. The other 2 also sneered disdainfully. It was as if they could already see the scene of Lin Xian being killed by a single punch. Lin Xian's expression was calm. He clenched his right fist and threw out a punch. Above his fist, there was a black aura that quickly spiraled and formed a blurry black dragon. Apocalyptic black dragon fist. Boom. In the next moment, the 2 fists collided with a thunderous sound. Countless black cracks even appeared in the void around them, crawling in all directions like small snakes. Competing with me in strength? You're courting death. The muscular man sneered disdainfully, and the 2 companions beside him also snorted. Senior brother Dolly cultivates the demon ox fist. His strength is boundless. There are very few people in the same realm who can suppress him in strength. A 2-star king dares to compete with senior brother Dali in strength? You're courting death. The three of them sneered. However, in the next moment, their smiles froze, and they even became very ugly, because the sound of bones cracking suddenly came from ahead. Not only that, the muscular man's expression was even more sinister as he screamed. He retracted his palm and retreated. Every step he took left a deep hole in the ground. At the same time, a look of horror appeared in his eyes. Damn it! How is this possible? How can you be so strong? Shocking. It was really too shocking. His demon ox fist couldn't defeat his opponent. His hand was even broken by his opponent. He couldn't believe it. Because of his innate physique and the cultivation technique he practiced, his strength was comparable to a 5-star king's. But now, he was actually unable to defeat a 2-star king tier. This was simply too unbelievable. The two companions beside him also opened their mouths wide, as if they had seen a ghost. How is this possible? Senior brother Dali actually lost. Heavens, I'm not dreaming. Am I? The two of them were extremely shocked. However, in the next moment, they became angry because Lin Xian dared to attack them. Two black shadows of fists like black dragons quickly rushed over. You're courting death. How dare you? The two of them were furious and quickly counterattacked. In their opinion, senior brother Dali must have been careless, which was why his opponent's sneak attack succeeded. If the two of them attacked with their full strength, they would definitely be able to kill their opponent. Frost palm. One of them had blue patterns on his palm. It was extremely mysterious and emitted a cold aura. The surrounding space instantly froze. Two incomparably huge blue palms pushed out horizontally. Ka, ka, ka. Wherever it passed, blue ice crystals would form. Edgeless, heavy sword. The other martial artist clenched his hands. Suddenly, the ground cracked, and countless pieces of rock and soil condensed in his hands, forming a huge, heavy sword. It quickly slashed forward. Chapter 1643. The ground cracked, and countless rocks and soil gathered in his hand, forming a huge sword. It slashed forward quickly. Boom, boom, boom. The void trembled violently like a painting. The stone sword was like an ancient, demonic mountain pressing down on Lin Xian. In the next moment, the black dragon fist collided with the attacks of the two men. Boom. The void exploded, and the two terrifying ice palms were instantly torn into pieces. On the other side, the huge stone sword was directly broken. What? How is this possible? The two men were stunned and could not believe it. This was their ultimate technique, and it was difficult to find a match for them in the same realm. But now, it was shattered by a 2-star king with a single punch. Damn it, what's going on? How can this kid be so strong? The two men's faces were ferocious. The muscular man from before had already swallowed a pill to heal the injury on his palm. He said in a deep voice, "This kid must be hiding his cultivation. Yes, that must be it." The ice man gritted his teeth and said, "He's doing this to confuse us and make us lower our guard. Damn it, this kid is too scheming. Hiding his cultivation? Scheming?" Hearing this, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a disdainful smile. "Are you done talking? If you're done, I can send you on your way. Or hand over the jade pendant obediently, and I can spare you this time." Hearing Lin Xian's voice, the three men were furious. The muscular man roared, "Let's attack with all our strength. I don't believe that this kid can resist the three of us." Okay. The other two men also nodded. In the next moment, 3 strange domains rushed out from behind them and shrouded the area in front of them. Demonic ox domain. The muscular man's face was ferocious. He waved his hand, and an extremely demonic domain shrouded the area in front of him. Suddenly, countless figures of demons quickly appeared. They were extremely ferocious, and their auras were extremely terrifying. This was the muscular man's demonic ox domain. At this moment, its power was terrifying. In an instant, the demonic ox figures were everywhere. The destructive energy caused the entire sky to tremble rapidly. World-destroying black dragon fist. Lin Xian, on the other hand, let out a loud shout and brandished his fists. The black dragon fist technique opened and closed, sweeping in all directions. The Armageddon black dragon fist was violent, ferocious, and ferocious. At this moment, when Lin Xian executed it, the two fists were like two black dragons roaring in the void. Boom, boom. The terrifying fist shadow collided with the ox demon domain, producing a world-shaking sound. Instantly, the sky exploded, and waves of air rolled. The area within a radius of 10 miles was razed to the ground. What? He blocked it. How is this possible? The muscular man and the other two were stupefied. They couldn't believe it. The ox demon domain possessed boundless strength and was incomparably ferocious. However, the other party only used a pair of fists to block the domain attack. This was simply too unbelievable. Damn it, I don't believe it. On the other side, the Frosty Man also roared. Behind him, a blue domain quickly formed, enveloping Lin Xian in an instant. Cold mountain domain. The blue domain erupted with an icy aura. It was extremely cold. In the sky, countless blue mountains appeared, crushing the void. In an instant, all the space in the entire domain froze. Even Lin Xian's body was covered with a thick layer of frost. Ha ha ha, kid, let's see how you can run. When the Frosty Man saw that the other party was sealed in ice, he immediately threw his head back and laughed. Boom. However, at this moment, a shocking explosion suddenly came from ahead. The ice on Lin Xian's body suddenly exploded into pieces. Countless violent black dragon auras quickly rotated, covering Lin Xian. It was like a ball of black flames burning fiercely. That aura was incomparably ferocious, like a demon king. What? This is impossible. The Frosty Man was shocked. He couldn't believe that the other party could actually break through his ice seal. Damn it, suppress for me. With a furious roar, the sky full of ice mountains quickly pressed down on Lin Xian. Those blue ice mountains were hundreds of feet tall. Cold air surrounded them, and mysterious blue patterns appeared. At this moment, dozens of giant ice mountains fell from the sky like ancient demonic mountains, piercing through the sky. It was obvious that if one was crushed by these ice mountains, even a 5-star king would be severely injured. Ha ha, kid, die. The Frosty Man laughed wildly, a trace of ferocity on his face. As for Lin Xian, he let out a low roar. The black flames on his body jumped, and he emitted an extremely violent aura. Apocalyptic black dragon fist. He had been using this fist technique because it was very powerful. Moreover, it could increase his proficiency in the fist technique in actual combat. Black fist shadows appeared one after another. They had a powerful aura that could sweep through the world. The fist shadows flickered with light, and an overwhelming black aura covered everything. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, the black dragon fist shadows collided with the ice mountains in the Sky Palace. A terrifying tremor shook heaven and earth. A huge crack appeared in the sky, and a powerful aura swept in all directions. At this moment, the entire ice domain was filled with raging winds and destructive energy. Even the entire ice domain began to crack, explode. Another loud explosion sounded out. and the dozens of ice mountains in the sky were shattered by the black dragon fist. They turned into countless pieces of ice and scattered in all directions. Even a huge black hole had appeared in the ice domain. Puff! The frosty man spat out a large mouthful of blood as he was sent flying. With the ice domain broken, he was severely injured. He probably didn't have much combat strength left. Damn it! Demonic ox domain! Sword domain! The remaining two roared and attacked at the same time. Two king domains surged out and enveloped Lin Xian. The demonic ox domain was extremely terrifying. Countless demonic shadows flickered and formed a huge demonic ox king. It held a huge axe and quickly chopped downwards. As the axe fell, mountains and rivers were shattered. The powerful aura was enough to send anyone flying, and it could even kill a 5-star king. The sword domain also flickered with countless dazzling sword lights. It swept across the heavens and earth, and its killing intent was shocking. One had to admit that these two were core disciples of the Purple Sun sect. Although they were only 4-star kings, their strength was stronger than ordinary 5-star kings. However, it was a pity that they met Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian seemed to have transformed into a god of war. Streams of black dragon chi surrounded him, and they accompanied his unparalleled fist as he punched out. Not only that, Lin Xian was crazily using the apocalyptic black dragon fist. He had reached a state of selflessness. Moreover, his fist techniques were becoming more and more proficient. In the end, explosions sounded between heaven and earth. Apocalyptic black dragon fist. Thunderous wild dragon. The apocalyptic black dragon fist, in addition to the complete set of fist techniques, also had 5 killing moves. At this moment, Lin Xian was using the first killing move. Chapter 1644. As he punched out with both fists, the wind blew and countless black lightning bolts fell. The two huge fists turned into black dragons that circled in the sky. Every single one of them was 300 meters long, and they were surrounded by lightning. Roar, roar. The two black dragons rushed out. Not only that, but the dragon sword soul in Lin Xian's body also let out a dragon roar. In the next instant, the two black dragons collided with the two king domains of their opponents. Boom! Heaven and earth shook violently as if the world was about to be destroyed. The two incredibly powerful kings' domains were pierced through by the two black dragons, and a jet black hole appeared. Puff! Puff! The muscular man and the ice man spat out blood and were severely injured. Their bodies were on the verge of collapse. At this moment, their eyes were filled with shock. They did not expect their opponent to have such terrifying combat strength. Even if the three of them worked together, they were no match for him. Damn it, who are you? Impossible! You can't only be a 2-star king. The three of them gritted their teeth in fear. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Cut the crap. If you want to live, hand over the item. Okay, we'll hand it over. The three of them looked at each other, and then the muscular man gritted his teeth and said he had no choice. He was no match for his opponent, so he could only ask for half of the jade pendant. You win. This is half of the jade pendant. The three of them handed over the jade pendant and turned to leave. However, Lin Xian said coldly, Wait, who said you could leave? What do you want? We've already handed it over. That's not what I'm talking about. Lin Xian said coldly, If you had handed over the jade pendant, I would have let you go. But now, since you want to kill me, do you think I'll let you go so easily? Then what do you want? The three of them had ugly expressions. It's simple. Hand over all your subdivine crystals. What? You're robbing us. The Iceman roared. Lin Xian shrugged. You're right. I'm robbing you. You're lucky that I didn't kill you. You're not willing to hand over something? Do you really think that I don't dare to do anything to you? Suddenly, Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Feeling this murderous aura, the three of their faces changed again. They did not expect that the handsome young man in front of them could actually emit such a terrifying aura. In order to save their lives, the three of them gritted their teeth and handed over all the subdivinity crystals in their storage rings. Lin Xian looked at the number and nodded slightly. From the looks of it, the other party should have handed over everything. In the next moment, he waved his sleeve and put away all the subdivinity crystals on the ground. Then his figure flashed and disappeared into the forest. Only the three disciples of the Purple Sun Martial School, whose faces had turned black, were left behind. Damn it! I'm so angry! The muscular man was mad. He had never been so angry before. The Iceman also gritted his teeth. Humph, just you wait. The House of Ziyang will not let this go. That guy should be from Danzong. He's alone, so it's easy to tell him apart. Yes, let's inform the other disciples. We must kill this brat. The three of them discussed for a while, and then quickly swallowed pills to recover their cultivation. Then they went on their way again, preparing to find other martial artists in the house of Ziyang to take revenge. On the other side, Lin Xian set off again. He had obtained many subdivinity crystals from the three of them. At this moment, he opened the Dragon Sword realm and put all the subdivinity crystals he had obtained into it. In total, the three of them had more than 150 kilograms of subdivinity crystals. In addition, there were dozens of supreme-grade subdivinity crystals. Lin Xian did not hesitate and refined all of them. If he wanted to increase his cultivation now, he needed a lot of subdivinity crystals. Moreover, as his cultivation increased, the number of subdivinity crystals he needed would also increase exponentially. Therefore, the subdivinity crystals of the three of them were not enough. He went on his way again to find other Empyreans. However, because his cultivation was only a 2-star king and he was alone, he did not need to find others. In just half a day, 3 waves of people attacked him. In the end, he defeated them all and took their subdivinity crystals. Now, he had obtained 400 kilograms of subdivinity crystals. Behind him, the Dragon Sword realm flickered with light and quickly refined those subdivinity crystals. The realm was the foundation of a king. Therefore, as the energy of the realm increased, Lin Xian felt that his energy had increased. Not enough. Not enough. Lin Xian shook his head slightly as his eyes bloomed. The efficiency of waiting for others to find him was too low, so he had to take the initiative to make a move. The Dragon Sword realm bloomed, and countless sword qi quickly surrounded Lin Xian's body and formed an azure dragon mask on his face, covering his face. This time, Lin Xian was going to make a move against the disciples of the 3 sects, so he had to hide his identity. Otherwise, when he was exposed, he would probably become the target of public criticism. Perhaps it would also arouse the dissatisfaction of the 3 sections. Therefore, he made a mask to cover his face. Not only that, he also took out a wide black robe and put it on. The disciples of the 3 sects were not familiar with him to begin with, and only Chuya knew him well. However, with his current appearance, you probably would not be able to recognize him. Very good. Lin Xian was very satisfied with his current appearance. Then his figure flashed, turned into a sword light, and rushed into the distance. At the same time, in the Hidden Moon Forest, the other warriors also met, and a great battle soon broke out. Although the first round was divided into small groups, it was still a battle between the sections, because every sect wanted to eliminate the warriors of the other 2 sects as much as possible. This way, the last 2 rounds would fall into the hands of their own sections. Purple Sun sect, Ding Peng, acted alone. He did not deliberately look for others, but those who were encountered by him were not spared. Purple sun splitting sky. Ding Peng formed a seal with his palm, and a purple sun bloomed behind him. It was like a purple demonic mountain that ruthlessly blasted forward. Wherever it passed, no one could match it. For a moment, everyone who saw it took a detour. Spirit Void Sect, Xiao Cheng, and Danzong's Danfeng were also incomparably powerful. No one was able to block their attacks. In addition to these three top geniuses, the other personal disciples were also extremely terrifying. On Danzong's side, Chu Yu and two personal disciples formed a team and quickly set off. Soon, they met a group of people from Lingshu sect. The other party was also a three-man team, but they were only ordinary core disciples. When they saw Chu Yu's team, their expressions changed drastically. Not good. It's a personal disciple. Hurry up and retreat. Want to leave? It's too late. Next to Chu Yu, a young man sneered. He waved the long saber at his waist, carrying an incomparably fiery red light, and fiercely slashed forward. The saber light was extremely resplendent, surrounded by blazing flames and violent energy, and was unstoppable. Chapter 1645. He brandished the long saber at his waist, and with a fiery red light, he slashed forward. The saber radiance was extremely bright, and it was surrounded by blazing flames and violent energy. It was unstoppable. In an instant, the three people in front of him were seriously injured. Puff! The three people from the Lingshu sect vomited blood and quickly admitted defeat, handing over a jade pendant. Then, the three of them ran into the distance. Humph, you run fast. The young man sneered and put away his long saber. Then he waved his hand and held half of the jade pendant in his hand. Senior Brother Chao's saber technique is indeed powerful, Chu said faintly. She seemed a little absent-minded because she was worried about Lin Xian's situation. I have already practiced this golden radiant raging flame saber technique to the great accomplishment stage. As long as I'm here, I won't let Junior Sister be in any danger, Senior Brother Chao said with a smile. In the distance, there were a few teams that saw this scene. They were so scared that their scalps went numb, and they didn't dare to come closer. They all ran into the distance and took a detour. There was no other way. The strength of the direct disciples was too terrifying. The best way for them was to run away. Among them, a team of three from the Purple Sun sect quickly flew towards the west. After flying for dozens of miles, the three of them let out a sigh of relief. That saber was too terrifying. Yeah, that's Chao Yun, ranked 7th among the direct disciples. Luckily, we ran fast. The three of them let out a sigh of relief. Haha, is that so? Can you really escape? At this moment, a cold voice sounded from behind the three of them. Who's there? When the three disciples of the Purple Sun sect heard the cold voice, their hair stood on end. They released their soul power and quickly scanned the surroundings. However, they didn't find anyone. Could it be a ghost? No way. Maybe we're too nervous and hallucinating. The three of them talked quickly, but they still looked around vigilantly. However, they didn't notice that under their feet, green vines were slowly and strangely slithering. Whoosh! Finally, those vines on the ground attacked, suddenly thrusting out like thousands of green divine spears. Incomparably sharp, puff, puff, puff. One of the Purple Sun sect's disciples was pierced by the green vines. Blood immediately splattered everywhere. What followed was an incomparably miserable shriek. What? Damn it! How could this be? The expressions of the other two disciples changed greatly. They roared madly and decisively attacked the green vines. Pung! In an instant, dozens of vines were broken. Are you okay? The other person also poured out a medicinal pill and fed it to the injured disciple. However, the dozens of vines still attached to the injured disciple's body began to shine brightly before exploding. Explode. Powerful energy exploded, forming a violent wind wave that swept in all directions. As for the injured disciple, he turned into a cloud of blood mist and ceased to exist. The other two disciples were also sent flying while vomiting blood. Damn it, who is it? Get out here. The two of them began to circulate their spiritual chi, releasing a dazzling light as they roared madly. They didn't expect that they would be plotted against and even lose a comrade. Hee, it's useless. Stop struggling. You have entered my vine domain. In this place, I am the ruler. You have no chance of resisting. A cold voice sounded. Not only that, but countless green vines began to spin madly in the surroundings. Like demons, they swayed in the wind. On the giant tree trunk, a pale human face appeared. It was extremely strange. Damn it, there is indeed someone. Kill him and avenge junior brother. The two disciples of the Purple Sun sect roared and used their powerful techniques. Not only that, but the two of them also quickly unleashed their king domains. However, the pale human face revealed a ferocious smile. It's useless. You have no chance. Vine domain, demons dance. With a command, the entire domain shone brightly. The green vines in the surroundings seemed to have turned into demons as they moved quickly. In an instant, the entire space was filled with green vines. Those vines were not ordinary plants. Each of them shone with a dazzling light, and each of them was extremely sharp and full of power. They spun madly, like a green wave, and instantly drowned the two disciples of the Purple Sun sect. Ah. The two of them only had time to let out a scream before they went silent. After a long while, fresh blood flowed out from between the vines. There was not only one battle like this. At this moment, the entire forest was filled with traps, assassinations, and counterattacks. It could be said that danger was everywhere. There were traps everywhere. Lin Xian also turned into a hunter and took the initiative to attack. He spread out his powerful soul power and scanned the surroundings. Soon, he locked onto a target. It was a small team of 3 that was flying quickly in the forest. Lin Xian noticed them and smirked. His body flashed, and like a sword light, he quickly rushed towards the 3 of them. He did not hide his aura at all. So when he got close, the 3 of them also noticed Lin Xian's existence. Who is it? How dare you attack us? Humph. You overestimate yourself. Get lost. The 3 of them roared and attacked wildly. Terrifying energy instantly exploded. World-destroying Black Dragon Fist. Lin Xian did not slow down and quickly waved his fist. 2 black dragon shadows directly blasted out. The black dragon moved freely, and its powerful aura penetrated the surroundings, shattering everything. The attacks of the 3 of them turned into ashes under the black dragon fist. Puff, puff, puff. The 3 of them vomited blood. They were sent flying. Lin Xian's body flashed and landed in front of them. Not long after, Lin Xian left again, but this time there were countless subdivine crystals in his hands. The 3 warriors on the ground gritted their teeth, and their faces darkened. Not only did the other party take away their jade pendants, but he also took away all the subdivine crystals on them. This drove them crazy. Moreover, what was more infuriating was that the other party was wearing a green dragon mask, and they did not know who he was. Next, Lin Xian continued to attack. Everyone he encountered was defeated. Not only did they lose their jade pendants, but they also handed over all the subdivine crystals on them. In half a day, Lin Xian got 2,000 pounds of subdivine crystals. The dragon sword territory fluctuated and emitted light as it quickly absorbed the energy. Lin Xian's strength was also increasing little by little. In the following day, Lin Xian not only attacked the people of Ziyang sect and Lingshu sect, but he also did not let the disciples of Danzong go. However, compared to the other experts, he was considered to be in a better state. This was because he never killed anyone. He only took away their things. As for the other powerhouses, they would directly kill the weaker warriors. That kind of method was cruel. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.